Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. Welcome back to Mr. Arsenal podcast. And guess what? Cup final. Everyone's
Yes.
thinking, everyone never gave us a chance. We're fucking there. And guess it's a London final as well, what's that actually called?
Even
When
better.
a draw was made. But yeah, either way, we're there against all the odds. Dug deep, tactically outdone Pep. And as I said, we're at the FA Cup final, boys. August 1st, the day before my brother's 21st. Can't get no better.
Quality.
So let's go get into it. We'll start with you, Richard, because obviously, as I mentioned in a tweet earlier this morning, me and you, it seems like just me and you had any hope that Arsenal would pull a result yesterday. So what was it? Because you was on another channel doing a watch along with Andrew. So what was your nerves like going for that 90 minutes until we obviously got you?
Yeah, I mean, before the game started, I saw the team, and again, Arteta's done this to me quite a lot actually in recent games. He makes a few surprise sort of selections that you're not expecting. It froze me a bit, and I was a little bit kind of concerned. I'm in a couple of positions, but once again, he's done what he's had to do. He's picked the right team. He's got his tactics spot on, and I wasn't actually that nervous during the game because we started well from the beginning, really. And it wasn't like you felt that they were putting us under loads of pressure and going to score a few goals. We looked quite comfortable. We looked dangerous on the break, and then we missed a couple of chances. Got the goal, and then it was enjoyable after that. Really, the second half they had a few moments, City, didn't they? But our defending again, the second game in a row, fantastic. I mean, what more could you want really from your defence? Every single player from 1 to 11 got behind the ball, did their job, filled in all the spaces, and Man City didn't have nowhere to go. And in the end, we could have easily won that game 3 or 4-0 with the chances that we had. And that's no exaggeration. And I mean, City are a good side, and Arteta did the job on him, which I felt he would be able to do because he knew how to play against them. He knew their strengths and their weaknesses, and he counteracted everything. All their dangerous players did nothing to hurt us, really, did they? De Bruyne was quiet. Sterling had that one chance, didn't do anything else. Mahrez was pretty quiet. Silva was quiet. We kept them all quiet, all their dangerous players, and it was a great team effort. Every single player was fantastic yesterday. There wasn't one outstanding player necessarily. There was 3 or 4 that were fantastic, but the rest of them were just brilliant, and everybody contributed. And it was just the whole thing was just what a great couple of hours that was. Watching Arsenal that everybody had written off. Nobody gave us a chance. Man City scored 150 goals, whatever, this season, and they couldn't get a goal against us. In 90 minutes, and it was just fantastic to watch. And I'm just so excited about where Arteta can take us now. Take this team forward. Brilliant.
Yeah, and as you said, this is what I was saying in Daniel's thing yesterday. Got to the kickoff. Arteta, because of what happened in the first game back with the injuries and all that, we didn't really get to see what Arteta had in mind to stop Pep.
Yeah.
Because everything just went out the window with them 2 injuries in that first match we played him back. Whereas yesterday, we could actually see what he wanted to do in the first place. And we saw the fruits of it because we contained, we frustrated, and we got him on the counter a couple of times. And yeah, as you said, we could be 3-4-0 up at the end of the match.
Yeah.
With the certain chances we had, we took more chances. But also,
let's not be greedy. Let's not be greedy. 2-0 will do, won't it? Let's be fair.
But yeah, to a man, every player on that pitch for Arsenal put a shift in. Even the ones I doubt, like Hector, even Ainsley, who's out of position, put a shift in and kept that lot quiet. De Bruyne, as you said, did nothing. Sterling had 1 chance. Mahrez had a chance, and even then, Martinez, using his hands, kept hold of it. We just didn't look like we were going to concede at any point because we got Mustafi, Luiz throwing themselves in front of box shots, making sure it weren't going anywhere near the goal.
And you watched, right? You just haven't seen that Man United game, bits and pieces of it, right? Everyone's been raving about Maguire for however long, and he wouldn't get nowhere near our team. Wouldn't get nowhere near. We're supposed to have this terrible defence. Maguire wouldn't get nowhere near our team. He wouldn't even get on a bench in our squad. Honestly, he's dreadful. Even Mustafi looks like Beckenbauer next to him.
I mean, Winston in the chat saying, what sort of witchcraft has Arteta been using, especially on our defenders?
I think Arteta's just told them to just keep things simple. And we're seeing the rewards of simple defending, going back to basics.
Yeah, and again, but also this is what I don't get with certain fans in our fan base not oh, he weren't my first choice. I'm not going to back him from day one. He's got to a cup final and they're still sarcastically backing him, but not. One sec. Oh, there, mute that.
Oh, Ryan's got a few personal issues going on again.
I thought it was amazing yesterday that Arsenal had 4 shots on goal, 3 from Aubameyang, 1 from Mustafi, all on target. When was the last time Arsenal had a 100% ratio when it comes to shots on target? And then you see the stats for David Luiz and Ceballos, some of the stuff they were putting on. Didn't it say like Ceballos had a 100% pass ratio? So I don't know if we've been trolled by some of the stats that are coming out, because I put 10 out of 10 for every single player and all the subs and the manager. And that was good, but it's just amazing to see. And this is going to be our 4th final in 6 years, and Chelsea's 3rd. It seems to be Chelsea and Arsenal are the only 2 teams that are constantly in the finals. How many has anyone here been? I take Richard. You take your kind of my generation. How many FA Cup finals have you been to?
FA Cup finals would have been 93. And the replay 98.
I was at 98.
2001 when we lost to Liverpool. 2002, 2005, 2014.
Wow.
So six FA Cup finals, a couple of League Cup finals thrown in there and whatever. So yeah, I mean, we've been lucky, haven't we, as Arsenal fans, that we've had those opportunities to see those games and watch us win. You know, the FA Cup's a great trophy. I don't care what people say; it's not what it used to be. It is. It's not only not what it used to be if you support a team that doesn't get to the final. You know, if you're in the final, it's and if you do well in a competition on a regular basis, it's the greatest cup competition in the world ever. And and we've won it the most times. And we need to appreciate as Arsenal fans what our club's about, what we've witnessed over the years, what we've been lucky enough to witness, and hopefully now witness a lot more going forward. I honestly believe that this is the start. When we won the FA Cup in 2017 under Wenger, that was the end of an era. You could tell at the time. And this now is part of a new era. It almost reminds me of 1987 when we won the League Cup under George Graham. It's the start of a new era, and we need to be excited about that, definitely, because I think we're going to have a few years now going forward of, the last 10 years have been difficult, if you like, put it in a bit of perspective, not really that difficult, but for us, it's been difficult. I think the next 10 years could be really, really exciting for us as Arsenal fans, and I hope that we can all get behind what's going on at the club and really, really enjoy it, because I think it's going to be some good times coming.
Yeah, just going through some of the people in the chat here. Man United fans, Liverpool fans, even Liam, our resident Spurs fan.
Hello, Liam.
And yeah, they're slating off De Gea, something chronic in the chat, by the way. I'm not it's so because come on, even I could have saved them shot. Bloody hell!
Anybody checked on Mark Goldberg to make sure he's all right?
Oh mate, he's been getting ripped all
he loves Luke Shaw, doesn't he?
I don't know if you saw a tweet,
and he's going to get ripped into tomorrow. All them Man United fans at the minute chatting about how great their team is, and when you look at who they've played, they haven't really played anyone spectacular. Come up against someone else that's Chelsea, who we're going to replay again, replay of the set. We played them a few years back in the FA Cup final, and they absolutely capitulated.
Yeah, he did.
It's so refreshing to see.
What makes me laugh is the rounds going on social media. I don't know if you guys have heard talking about Martial's. He's better than Aubameyang. I was like, you got to be.
Wow! Wow!
Really?
Wow!
Come on, man! Seriously, I like Martial, but that's just a stupid comparison.
No, what I was going to say. I put a tweet out concerning Goldbridge earlier because I saw a video of him when the draw was made. This morning, he was like, "Yep, Arsenal out. Arsenal."
Everybody said that though. Everybody said that.
I just put a tweet because he's Man United. I just put a tweet like, at Mark Goldbridge, you best hope Man United get through tonight, or otherwise you're going to get all matter of hell coming your way."
Yeah. I bet he's getting ripped now because Man United.
Definitely.
To be fair, Man United, the way Man United went out as well. The defense catalogue of errors. I tell you what, De Gea's finished as a keeper. Do you know what I mean?
He's finished for years.
He is absolutely finished. And then you look But then you look at a keeper like Martinez, who's been waiting in the wings at Arsenal for years, and he's just come in and taken his chance. You know, all the games that he's played, he's been superb.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has. He's been different.
Great headache for Arteta.
He has got a massive headache, because he's too good to be a number 2. He's too good to be a number 2. He's proved that.
But I think as well, it'll give Leno a chance to actually heal properly and then come back and actually fight for his place. So it's a test of character from Leno, really. You know, he's on the sidelines watching what Martinez is doing right now, and he's probably thinking, wow, when I come back, I need to be 100%. I need to be back at that level 100 again, you know, because don't get me wrong, Leno has really, really saved us this season in quite a few games. And I know his distribution isn't the greatest like Martinez's and stuff like that, but we need to give Leno just a little bit of credit for helping us get to this point in the cup as well, you know. He definitely deserves a little shout.
No, definitely, yeah. I mean, Leno's been great this season, yeah. We've got 2 good goalkeepers, haven't we? I mean, you just seen today our second choice goalkeeper's better than Man United's first choice, better than Chelsea's first and second choice. You know what I mean? We've got one of the best second choice goalkeepers there's ever been. Yeah, and will he want to stay a second choice? I don't know. I mean, if we are in the Europa League next year and he plays in all the cup games, he could get 25 games anyway next season, couldn't he? With all the Europa League, FA Cup, League Cup. If we have good runs in the cups, he's going to get 25 games. Leno gets 38 in the league. You know, he's kind of split 50-50 then, won't it be, really? Which I suppose is fair. But will Martinez be happy with that after how he's played? I don't know.
Yeah.
I doubt it very much.
You never know as well. You know, that if there are any more injuries like to Leno or something, because you know, you never know. You know, like nobody could foresee this injury to Leno, and you know, he's come in, Martinez, and he's actually done what, you know, you would have wanted him to do, because you know, he's been saying for years, "Oh, well, I want to be starting. I should be starting." And what he's done since Leno's been injured, he's come in and he's gone, right, this is my time to shine, and he has actually been brilliant. He has been fantastic. And you know, like as Arsenal fans, that's all we ask for. You know, like what we saw yesterday, that's all we ask for. Is you know, if you give 100% on the pitch, that's all we ask for. Even if you give 100% and the result doesn't go our way, you know, you gave it all. And to do it against Man City, you know, when a lot of people doubted Arteta because obviously he was Pep's number 2, and you know, listen, there is a big difference from being a number 2 to being a number 1. And you know, I said right from day one, the first press conference I heard from Arteta, listen, he had me turned in minutes. Do you know what I mean? I was sold, and I said this manager is going to take us places, and everybody doubted that. Everybody was, oh no, but you know, he's got to prove it on the pitch, and you know, rightly so. He's got to prove it on the pitch, and I think yesterday goes a long way to sort of proving that. And you know, without getting carried away, if he can do that in a cup final, listen, the guy's only been in the job for, you know, arguably you could probably say 4 months. You know, if you exclude the lockdown and the break and the pandemic and all that. So he's only really been in the job for, you know, 4 months. And you know, he's had a lot to contend with. You know. With obviously, you know, his first job at Arsenal, and in those months, he's, you know, obviously he's been ill himself. He's had this to contend with that the whole world is going through. He's inherited, let's be honest, a crap group of players, and to still get us to a cup final, and you know, he should take full credit for that, because. You know, before we wasn't even, you know, the FA Cup hadn't started when he had come in, so he can take full credit for getting us there. And if we can pull off one more win in the FA Cup final, and we get back into Europa League, and you know, then the proper rebuilding can start. because we definitely need players. We need new players, and for me now, I'm sold on Arteta. You know, I'm completely sold. But I tell you something now, everybody is. Listen, I can tell you something now. All eyes are on the board. All eyes are on the board, and all eyes are on Rouse Nelly and the Cronkies and Edu. You know, all eyes are on them because they've got to spend money and they've got to give him the finances to rebuild this team. And listen, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a massive, massive summer. And you know, I trust Arteta to get it right. But I'll tell you what, I'm not sold on this board. Do you know what I mean? Because they've
all I would say is that I think you're a little bit harsh on the players saying we've got crap players. I think what we had was, now you can see what they're capable of because they're coached properly, and they've actually been, a lot of them players who people said were rubbish, made mistakes all the time, have actually stepped up and improved. In fact, I was saying last night after the game that it looks like we've got virtually 11 new players to the team we had in November. It's the same players. They just, Arteta's brought out the best in them, right? So they're proving now that they are good players. They've always been good players. They were just badly coached and badly managed previously. Now, I personally believe that even if we buy nobody this summer, right, with this group of players and Arteta, next season we'll finish in the top 4. If we can improve as well, brilliant. We can go even further. But even with this team now, with this group of players, I mean, look at Chelsea out there today, right, in that semi-final. They're in the top 4. They're not better than us. No chance in the world that they've got better players than us, right? They've just been coached better than what we were over the first half of this season. So I believe that even with this current group of players, we can finish top 4 next season. And hopefully we can get 2 or 3 in, and then we can really start to rebuild and push on.
The problem is, and listen, I completely get your point. They have been, you know, they are being coached better now. But the problem is, can they do it consistently over 38 games? And you know, like anybody can switch it on in a game and switch it on in an FA Cup game and then, you know, like 2 games, you know, maybe in the final that they'll switch it on. But can you do it consistently in 38 games? And that's where the question mark comes over a lot of these players. And, you know, if they prove us wrong, then fair play. You know, I'll personally hold my hands up and say, you know, I got it wrong. But for me, listen, you know, take nothing away from them because they did play brilliantly yesterday and they fully deserved to go through. But see, the problem is in doing that, we've seen how they can play. So when they put in shit performances, people are going to question them. You know, people are going to question them because now we've seen it. We know what they can. We know what they can be like, and you know, we saw them against. What was it? Arteta's first win was against Man United at the Emirates, and the question mark is, can they do it consistently over 38 games? And for me, the question is still there because, like I said, they can turn it on for a few games and then old habits creep in and I just think we do need to strengthen. We massively need to strengthen, and these group of players, some of them are decent, but then there is a lot of others that I think, you know, their time is done at the club now. You know, and that's credit to Arteta as well, because like we know these players have, you know, a majority of these players have got mistakes in them. We know that a majority of these players have underperformed this season for whatever reason. But I think more credit has to go to Arteta for getting this group of players to play like they can.
He's got the most out of what he's got, hasn't he? He's got the most out of what he's got. Yeah. That's what he's doing. And
but I still think we need strengthen. I still think
we definitely do. Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, we do. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Touching on from like the summer. I mean, we've probably been saying for the last 6 years it's a big summer, but I think the difference is this time is we've got a coach in Arteta where I said even when he said the game the other night after Liverpool, and he was interviewed by Jeff Shreves. I said Wenger and Emery would never have come out and said that after a press conference, whether it was a veiled message at the Cronkies or whatever. The fact that he had the bollocks to turn around and say it, and also the fact that he's quite transparent, and he might not Arteta might not necessarily get what he wants, but the fact that he went and said that. At the end of the day, yes, it's people might think he sort of backtracked a couple of days later when he's saying that he wasn't sort of aimed at, but the fact that he said it is a good thing. And yeah, I think I said last time when I was on here, I said for me, when I look at Arsenal in terms of transfers and recruitment, I like to see who's actually going out first before who we bring in, because if we're consistently told as a fan base we don't have any money, some of the guys, there's only so much coaching Arteta can do, because yes, he's got the best out of, he literally, well, like an orange, he squeezed every last bit of juice out of it. Yes, the players have stepped up, and yesterday was unbelievable. But as Daniel kind of pointed out, in terms of the level of consistency, that would be my only sort of issue. And that's not an Arteta thing. That's just with the group of players who he's got.
No, I agree. But Arteta's had 25 games in charge now, right? With this group of players. I mean, yes, okay, a couple came in January, although they've sort of injured and stuff like that. But the same group of players, the 25 games that he's had, look at the results we've had. We've lost 5 of those games, right, out of 25, which, you could say that's, but a lot of them were sort of earlier on in the process, and you can see the improvements that they've made. And I can see over a full season, yeah, we're not going to win the league or anything with this group of players, of course not. But I do think they're good enough to finish top 4, and I think Arteta could get them in the top 4. This group of players that we've got now, because if Chelsea are in the top 4, Leicester have been challenging for the top 4. They've not got better players than us. They haven't. Man City and Liverpool have, quite clearly, but we're not at their level yet, and we're not necessarily thinking about that. But we're thinking about the top 4. As to being stand, we could get in the top 4 next year with what we've got. If we do strengthen, which hopefully we will, 2 or 3 areas in the team, then we'll have a great chance of getting in the top 4 and doing even better in all the other competitions, challenging in the Europa League and the FA Cup again, whatever it is, and that's what's got to be the plan, hasn't it, really? But let's actually give these players a little bit of credit. They were underperforming at the start of the season because I feel as though they had the wrong coach who they just didn't understand. Now they've got a coach that they've all bought into. The players that haven't bought into, Guendouzi, Ozil, etc., are being cast aside because they're just not buying into the idea. Look how that's playing with a smile on their face now, aren't they? Ceballos is playing with a smile on his face. He had his head down before under Emery. Aubameyang's got a smile back on his face. Players that were maybe struggling before have really. Xhaka is another one. He's playing with a smile on his face now, and they all are. And Arteta's just got them up a level. He's got them to perform. He's got them where they can be, and they're not going to necessarily slip down from it. Yeah, they'll have the odd bad game, of course they will. Everybody has a bad game, but I'm convinced that over 38 games with this group of players, we would be top 4 if Arteta had them for the whole season. We probably won't know that, because I do think we will strengthen. We'll sell a few in the summer. We'll buy a few. I reckon 3 or 4 will leave, 2 or 3 will come in. I would say that's probably what will happen. And let's hopefully that 2 or 3 of the players that we need in the right areas of the pitch, midfield, particularly, backup attacking players maybe. And then see where we are. But that's how I see it. And I think the players deserve a lot of credit. I mean, I'll tell you, yeah, fantastic. I mean, I love the guy. But the players need credit as well for actually buying into it and raising their game and their level of performance. Every single one of them. There's not one player out there who's either stood still or gone backwards. They've all improved, haven't they? They've all gone from maybe 5, 6 out of 10 performances every week to like 7, 8 performances every week. And that's consistency now over 10, 15 games, isn't it? It's not just 1 or 2 games. It's been building and been building. And I think it's going to continue building, and we've got to get behind it, I think, and enjoy it.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that because Lewis made a point earlier about Arteta simplifying things, and he's right. When he first came to Arsenal, he did like these first press conference, and listen, he had me sold as well, to be honest. And the key thing he always kept talking about was non-negotiables. So if you're not on board, you don't play. You see it with Guendouzi and Ozil. Yeah. Like Arteta's not here to play, man. Like, and that's what I love about him. It's just the transparency, and I just hope Richard and you guys as well that it's not even that they have to give him obscene amounts of money, because that's going to take over a 3-4 year period. But just give the guy something to work with. You've seen what he's done with the tools he's got at the moment with the group of players he's got. Just give the guy some help, man. And I just pray they do that in the summer.
I'm sure they will.
I'm exactly the same. You know, it makes you think why we didn't just take him in the first place over Unai Emery. It felt like we wasted 18 months, you know, of a rebuild project in Unai Emery. I mean, yes, he's got the credentials, but at the end of the day,
he wasn't the right fit, was he?
Yeah. You could see what he wanted to do.
I look at that as a positive, though, that we didn't take him 18 months earlier, because that's 18 months more experience under Guardiola. And who better can you learn your trade from than Guardiola?
Yeah, I get that, Daniel, but as well, Pep's been saying for like the last 2-3 years that Arteta's ready. So whether or not in the interview, you know, whether or not he sold them or not, you know, that remains to be seen. But you know, at the time of when we sacked Unai, there was Jose Mourinho floating around, and there was so many Arsenal fans saying, "Why don't we get him? He's a born winner." I'm like, nah. Have you not understood that his brand of football would not fit the Arsenal's philosophy at all? You know, it's boring, it's horrible, it's outdated. And his style of coaching is
doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No.
You know, we would be moaning a hell of a lot, but things, you know, work out in mysterious ways in football, and I feel we're slowly getting to where we need to be. You know, there's going to be a few more ups and downs with Arteta. You know, he's still learning the trade on his own as a manager, and you know, we shouldn't get overly excited just yet. You know, I like the prospect of what can happen and what could happen, but we need to be realistic and think to ourselves, maybe in the next 5 years' time, we might actually be, you know, really, really back to how we was under Wenger, you know, when we was flying high. You know, I'm happy, but not overly happy, if that makes sense.
Do you know what I like with Arteta, right? Is that you look at the first few games in the restart, the Man City and Brighton game, right? We were playing a system that clearly wasn't working, and you saw that. And then you see, you know, then obviously we did have a bit of success against Southampton and Norwich. But then for the Wolves game, from the Wolves game and going forward, he changed the system and it worked. And then after the Wolves game, like who did we have after Wolves? Can't remember.
Leicester.
Was it Tottenham? Was it Tottenham?
Leicester first.
Leicester.
We had Leicester.
Sorry.
Right, and okay, Leicester. You could probably say we had a little bit of a wobble. But what I liked is that he stuck with the same system, and he didn't just revert back to his favoured 4-3-3, which everybody thought that when he come in, he was going to like that. I think he realised that he hasn't got the players to play that system, you know, and then he changed to this this 3-4-3, and it's actually compensated for the fact that we have a shit midfield. So it actually works a lot better. And what he done yesterday in the game against Man City is he literally saw Man City's strengths, because we all know Man City's strengths, you know, which is obviously like De Bruyne and Mahrez, and you know, if you keep those two quiet, you're pretty much got half the job. He knew that we weren't going to have a lot of the ball. He knew that, you know, Man City were going to have the lion's share of possession, and it was going to be a case of keeping compact, keeping them out, and then taking your chances when you get them. And he perfected that yesterday. And also what I like is that we're more clinical when we are getting those chances, which has been a criticism, you know, especially in the Leicester game, where we had chance after chance after chance after chance, and we weren't converting it. and he's doing that. And then also, you know, like looking at it from Aubameyang's point of view, he was getting a lot of criticism, and even I've criticised him in the past for not doing it in the big games. Well, he well and truly proved everybody wrong yesterday with his 2 goals. And you know, I just like that Arteta's sticking with systems that work. You know, like one criticism of Wenger, he was always a one-trick pony. He would never have a plan B. He would never change it when needed to be. You know, he would never adapt to the type of opposition that he played. He would always try and play his way. And, you know, we had years and years of success that way. But when the Premier League started to change, he wouldn't change with it. And that's what I like about Arteta, is that he's changing and he's adapting to every team that we play. And he's looking at their weaknesses, looking at their strengths. And he's trying the best he can with the players he's got. And also what I like about Arteta is that he's not afraid to say what he thinks. So, like, even in press conferences, you know, we've seen for years, even under Unai Emery and even under Wenger, that he would always censor himself in press conferences. But Arteta seems to be very, very down the line. You know, he's straight with the public, straight with the media. None of this, oh, well, we'll see what happens. And I like the fact that he come out and, you know, was honest about, I don't know what funds I'm going to get in the summer. Because what that does is that inadvertently puts pressure on the board. And now everybody is going to be looking at the board, because Arteta, what he's done, he's basically saying, well, listen, the ball's in your court now. You've given me the job. You know, I truly believe that when the board brought in Arteta, they brought him in to be a yes man. They brought him into, you know, they went for the cheaper option. They brought him in because they thought that he was going to be another puppet. And I can tell you something now, that I think the board might have bitten off more than they can chew with the appointment of Arteta. And that's going to be the benefit of the club.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point.
I mean, talking about the system as well, actually. You're talking about the system Arteta's played. Interesting today that Chelsea and Man United both adopted Arteta's system for the game today, which they've not really been playing much through the season. And I think they both watched the way Arsenal played yesterday, and they could see that that's the way to win these games. And Arteta's going to be a trailblazer now going forward, I think, with his tactics and with his coaching ability. And I think that was interesting, that when I saw the 2 teams that had set up today before that game, I'm thinking they've both changed their system to match how we played yesterday. Be interested in the final, actually, to see what Chelsea do. Will Chelsea go 3 at the back in the final? Or will they stick to their original kind of system that they were playing as they played most of the season? Bearing in mind, they've let in a lot of goals this season, Chelsea. They've let in more than we have.
Yeah, they do.
So I think that Lampard might go with that same system that he played today against us in the final. So we're going to be matched up, aren't we? The same systems playing against each other. I think that's how it's going to go in the final, and that's going to make it quite an interesting game, actually. Because
I think we got better quality than Chelsea.
Yeah, I do.
You know,
I do.
I really do. I think we got better quality than Chelsea.
But our problem is going to be, we've been really good against Liverpool and Man City, both teams who have a lot of possession playing in front of us. Chelsea won't do that. Today, they step back, they shut the spaces exactly how we played yesterday. And it's going to be 2 teams that's their strength now. Our strength is doing that. Chelsea's strength is doing that now, because they need to stop conceding goals. And one team's going to have to take a chance. One team's going to have to say, right, we're going to take the game forward. And then that leaves you a little bit vulnerable to the counter-attack. Chelsea have got some quick players like we have going forward. And I think that's going to be a very interesting game, that, because who's gonna go for it first? Who's gonna make the option to really go and try and win the game, rather than sitting back and not risking losing, which is tactics that's worked well for us against the top teams recently. But I just feel against Chelsea, it's going to be a much more difficult game for us, actually, tactically, and it'd be interesting to see how that's going to play out. Because
we need to keep
system, isn't he?
They'll definitely let us have the ball, 100%.
Yeah,
but we're not so good with that, are we? We're better off as they have been. We're better off letting them have the ball, shutting the spaces and catching them on the break. And that's Chelsea won't do that. They won't have the possession, will they? They're not going to play like that.
Yeah, good point.
That'd be interesting. It'd be interesting.
Back to the game itself as well. Partnership of Danny Ceballos and Xhaka was reintroduced yesterday after obviously Danny was rested on midweek. Do you think Arteta's found his partnership going forward? And obviously that means then, do you think he'll go to the board come August 2nd and try and persuade him to either buy or extend his loan?
Lewis, you want to go first on
that? The rumoured fee is around about 23 million pounds, and in today's market, that is still a drop in the ocean, and it would definitely make sense. You know, I would definitely take Danny Ceballos. I know Arteta had a few problems with him when they were on the camp in Dubai. They sorted their differences out, and Danny's now starting to buy into the philosophy. So if Xhaka does stay, which is looking
likely,
very, very likely, why would you break up a good partnership if it's working? You don't fix what's not broken.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And also, as I've been saying, since Danny scored that winning goal for us against Sheffield, his performances itself have got better and better throughout every other game. And yesterday was, I think, arguably his best game so far.
Yeah, it's hard not to. Sorry, Rich, go on, mate.
No, I was just going to say, I agree. The only thing is, I think we should try and buy Ceballos if we can get a good price. 22 million would be a good price for him, and if we can afford it, I would. I still think we are lacking two things in midfield: a physical presence, a big, strong physical player in midfield, and also someone who can score goals. And Ceballos isn't either of those two things. He complements Xhaka really well, and that's great. But I just think if we want to go up a level, we maybe need someone in there who's got a bit more of a physicality about him and can actually score more goals. I mean, Ceballos has got 2 goals all season, hasn't he? Which you know isn't maybe enough for what we need, I think, in midfield. But they are working well. If we can get him for 22 million, get him. But don't stop there. Get someone else in as well, I think.
We need that powerhouse in midfield. We've been crying out for that for a long time.
And someone who can get goals in there as well, you know, someone who makes them sort of Ramsey-type runs, you know, late runs into the box, gets on the end of things and adds 10 goals a season from midfield. And if we can get someone to do that, I mean, Ceballos and Xhaka have got a great partnership. You've got to build a squad, haven't you? It's no good just looking at the first 11. You know, we need, yes, get Ceballos if we can get him at that price. But don't just get him in midfield. Get someone else as well. And I'm sure Arteta knows what he needs. And we need to trust him.
I mean, yesterday was an interesting one when we saw the lineup. And I'd be like anyone to tell me that Maitland-Niles was going to start. That came from nowhere. So, when he saw he was going to play on left wing back. But you know what? I thought with City, yes, Walker and
he put him there against Wolves as well. He came on and put him there against Wolves.
I mean, Walker and Mendy are good going forward, but going the other way, I thought we got down their right hand side more so. We got down the left as well because Ainsley was very disciplined. He's not just playing a wing back and being defensively sound. You've got to offer offensively as well. And it was that thing about Arteta when Daniel made the point earlier about Arsene Wenger, and it's true. You knew who he was going to pick. You knew the system he was going to pick. Emery was the complete opposite. He studied the opposition to the point that there was no ink in the pen.
Yeah.
And then and you've probably got Arteta now, who's almost a match of the two, where
he's probably got the best of both Emery and Wenger.
Yeah, so we've got the flexibility and adaptability, which a lot of coaches don't do. But Arteta's young, he's dynamic, he's hungry. And when I saw that lineup, I was like, wow. You know, we'll see where we go. And the way we beat the City press, I mean, that first goal, 18 passes, 10 players touched the ball. I've except Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and then great cross from Pepe into Aubameyang, and that was just a world-class finish. And you know what? We Man City, didn't we? So, brilliant.
But that was always likely to happen because obviously Arteta's links with Pep, he's grown as a coach under Pep, hasn't he? So ultimately, the dream for Arteta is going to be to have Arsenal playing that Man City way, isn't it? And when he gets better players who can pull it off more, that's how we'll play it. At the moment, he's working with what we've got, so we're being a little bit more conservative with the way that we play, aren't we? You know, that was a great move for that goal, but we're not going to be able to do that on a consistent basis in every game like Man City do.
No, because there was a couple times yesterday. Oh my God! No, the Bellerin one was oh my god, when he gave it to De Bruyne, and then Xhaka put in an unbelievable block.
He did, yeah.
But I mean, we kind of thought they was capable of that performance, but when you actually see it develop and happen in your own eyes, I mean, the defensive display. I mean, David Luiz, man, I even said on my channel, I said we need to give that guy a year's subscription of ibuprofen or headache tablets because he headed everything. He blocked everything. It was incredible. Even that chance in the second half, he was. Even in the second half when Sterling had that chance, yeah, Mustafi and David Luiz just throw themselves at the ball. It was a great block by Luiz, but that defensive display and like I say, they say possession is key, but sometimes that's not always the case with stats because obviously Arsenal was 29%,
something like that. Yeah,
4 shots on target. City had 1 shot on target.
Yeah,
71% possession. That's. I mean, even when Leicester won the league when they won it, if you look at a lot of the games they won, their percentage in terms of them having possession of the ball was low, 30%, 20%.
They played counter attack, didn't they, with Vardy, Vardy's pace, and it suited what they had, and it worked for that season with them. And I think we might have to play a similar way. It's not about possession; it's about what you do when you've got it. You can have the ball for 5 minutes out of 90, and if those 5 minutes you score 3 goals, you've won the game. It doesn't matter. And I've never, I always agree with Brian Clough said it years ago. It takes a second to score a goal. You can have the ball all you like. And I mean, yesterday we let Man City have it second half, didn't we? Where did they go? Sideways. Yeah. We filled all the spaces and they had nowhere to go. It was like a wall, wasn't it? It was like a red wall in front of them, and they just didn't know how to get through it. Did they? That was brilliant. That was brilliant defending from every single one of them players. Even Lacazette when he was playing, he was coming back.
The hold-up play, brilliant.
So, and who would you say was your man of the match? Who would you say was your man of the match?
I'll give it to all of them. It was a proper team. When you look at it and you're like, oh, but this guy did this, and then you're like, oh, but Ainsley did that. Like, it was a collective. For me, that everybody stood up and was counted yesterday. They knew the job. They stuck to the game plan, because I actually think that was the game plan that we was meant to do against City the first time round, but obviously through injuries and the sending off, we wasn't able to do it. But for me, everybody gets a shout. I can't really put my finger on just the one man that really stood out. They were all there. They were all stars in my eyes.
Yeah, if you're to push me on it, last night you wouldn't have got any sense out of me. But I'll be honest, like I've made it no secret, I'm not Granit Xhaka's biggest fan. But I'll tell you something, man. That is by far a country mile his best performance in the Arsenal shirt in the 4 years he's been here. I thought he was immense.
And David Luiz had a good game.
My
David
God.
Luiz
and Mustafi as well, man. I have to give him a bit of praise.
Tierney's
a boss. Tini's a boss. I don't care what anyone says.
Tini's a future captain. I can tell you that now.
Did you all see that picture afterwards where the kit man took a picture? And
that was brilliant. That was brilliant. And he was like a bit like a naughty school kid. Like, sorry, sir, I didn't mean to do it. But when you've just won a big game in a semi-final against the champions of the year before, I don't. You're not going to be in control of your emotions. So it was such a nice thing, for him to say sorry and to donate his shirt to the cancer guy, man. That was a really lovely touch. And but just before the restart, in one of my Facebook groups, everyone was slating Kieran Tierney and saying he's injury prone, he's championship standard at best, we should sell him to Leicester for 25 mil. And I had to turn around and say to these guys, this guy, given a run of games, is 100%. A player. Right? He came from the Scottish leagues playing for Celtic. He knows what it's about to defend. He knows he's such a tidy player with the ball at his feet. He's always in the right place at the right time. Right? He marked Mo Salah out of the game against Liverpool. He just loves to defend. And he's so humble with it. He is a breath of fresh air. One of the best signings so far that we have made in last summer.
Yeah,
it's really good, man. It's really good.
Yeah. If Arsenal weren't pissing about, they probably could have got it for cheaper. But you know what? You're right with the Kieran Tierney thing, because I've wanted him at Arsenal for about 2 years, and when he came and obviously he got the injury and that double hernia, and people just were ready to just sharpen the knives. And I said, look, just be patient. Trust me, this guy's ready for the Premier League. Don't let the thing fool about coming from the SPL and all that. He is ready, and now people are starting to see what this guy's capable of. And you're right, a guy comes with a winning mentality, Scotland or not.
Yeah, no, Kieran Tierney's been brilliant, and I think that left centre back role out of the three actually really suits him, because he's such a good defender, and he even got forward and helped create the second goal as well, didn't he? Great
ball over the top.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of man of the match, I mean, it is difficult to pick one. I mean, David Luiz was phenomenal yesterday, absolutely unbelievable, and Xhaka as well. I agree. I mean, I would probably give it to Xhaka just because I thought Xhaka is sat in front of that defence and literally
it's a shield.
Lost it completely, and that was a fantastic performance. And I think Granit Xhaka has been consistent now for a long time. Actually, his performances have been consistently good. And yesterday he stepped up. David Luiz stepped up. He knew he owed us one for Man City after what happened before, And I loved his interview actually, David Luiz, afterwards when he was interviewed on the telly, and he said, you can criticise me, you know what I mean? It was my fault, kind of thing. I just love him. He's such a humble guy. He's won everything in the game to win, and he's still so sort of humble, and he still wants to help everybody, and you can tell that he actually loves playing for Arsenal as well. I know he came from Chelsea and people maybe hold that against him, but he clearly loves playing for Arsenal. He wants to make Arsenal successful in his last couple of years of his career, and the young players look up to him, and I just think yesterday he showed exactly what he's all about, not only how he played on the pitch but how he behaves, and he's a great example for young players to look up to, and Xhaka as well. I mean, Xhaka yesterday, it probably was his greatest performance.
Easily.
I thought he was but to be honest with you, I don't think that was unusual. I think he's been playing well anyway. That was just he went even one level higher, didn't he? Yesterday, definitely.
He did.
But all of them did, really, didn't they? All of them stepped up. It was a big game. They knew they had to play well. They got confidence from the Liverpool game, I think, a little bit as well, and they just went into that. And they all stepped up, and they were phenomenal. Every single player yesterday, brilliant, absolutely. What more could we want? I mean, I think Daniel said it before. We just want to see them give 100% for the cause, and that's what they did yesterday. And even if we'd lost that game in the end, we couldn't have had any complaints because they gave everything. They left everything out on that pitch, and luckily it was more than enough to win that game, and we got the great result. But that's all we want to see, don't we? But we want to see them do that in big games when it matters consistently now. They've done it twice in a row now, and let's do it again in the final. Finish the league off on a high if we can, but let's go for that final. Chelsea are there to be beaten, but let's perform like that. Everybody give everything, and we're going to end this season. What a funny season it's been with everything that's gone on, with 3 different managers that we've had, and obviously the COVID break and lockdown and all kinds of stuff going on. And if we can actually finish this season with a trophy, Tottenham haven't won a trophy for however many years it is, you know what I mean? And we've had a terrible season, and we're going to end up with a trophy, you know what I mean? It's hilarious, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Again, for the second time in the last 6 years, we've reached the final in a really poor season, and Tottenham have been at their best. It just shows you the difference in the clubs.
Yeah, but you think actually, right, we reached the League Cup final 2018. I know we lost. We reached the Europa League final 2019. We lost. We reached another final. Three years in a row we've reached a final now. 2017 we won the FA Cup. That's 4 years in a row. 2016, okay, we didn't, but we come second in the league. 2014, 2015 we won the FA Cup. So going back now, that's like 6 or 7 years of consistently reaching cup finals. And it's not the same as winning the league. Obviously, that's what we want to be doing. But it's been a consistent actual level of performance that we've done overall. With the results. And you look at a team like Tottenham, who they think they've done well because they finished 3rd in the league or they finished above us. We're consistently reaching cup finals even when we're not doing very well. Imagine what we can do when we start actually getting a decent team together. You know what I mean? We're going to be winning the league again, aren't we?
21 FA Cup finals, isn't it? Jesus.
Yeah.
One player we haven't actually got onto yet is Pepe. What a game he had yesterday, the assist and then the pre-assist.
Yeah,
he was brilliant. And I know he's one of those players that really frustrates you because he on his day he is quality.
Yeah.
But then there's other times you're like, you've just beat that man. Why are you gonna go beat him again? Be direct. But I think Pep's got into him, said, look, you already know how good you are. Just play simple. Just relax. You know, nothing phases him, but you can see, like, against Tottenham, he kept giving the ball away. Leicester, he was not as great, but a game like that, big game, I feel that he showed up, you know, and the cross to the back post, I think that is definitely a training ground move. Yeah. You know, the way it's just the way the goal came about as well. You know, that came straight off the training ground. So big props to Pepe for getting an assist. You know, it hasn't been what people would make out to be a stellar season, but you look at his stats and you think to yourself, there's some promise there. Yeah. There's a bit of promise there. Now that you've had your first year in the Premier League, you need to step up now. Because I kind of give him a bit of a free pass this season, because we've had the free managers, like we've said, and you know, it's hard to settle as a new player when you come in, you know, when there's a lot of changes in and around the first team. So next year I'm looking for Pepe to kick on.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah. No, he did have one of his better games on yesterday, mainly because he actually had an influence on the game, didn't he? A lot of the time he showed some great skill. He'd do a great trick, a great little run, and then he's got nothing to show for it. Whereas yesterday he had a big influence on the game with an assist and the part he played in the second goal, you know, and he actually had some end product there. And that's what we need to see, don't we? You know, we need to see him produce that on a regular basis, giving us some end product, you know, whether it's assists, creating chances, being influential. Too many games have just bypassed him, you know, he's not had any influence at all. In fact, after time, he didn't even know he was playing. But yesterday he really had an impact in a big game as well, and that's a great sign. And hopefully now it's going to mean he's going to settle. Bearing in mind as well, look what Arteta did with Raheem Sterling. Very similar sort of player when he first came to Man City. Very inconsistent, never really had a final ball. But Arteta worked with him, improved him, and now he's reached a higher level, hasn't he? And if he can do a similar job with Pepe, then we could have a really good player, because Pepe is far better than Sterling will ever be in terms of natural ability. Yeah. And if Arteta can actually get more out of him in terms of consistent performances and a better decision making, maybe sometimes in the final third, and stop him from always cutting back inside. I mean, he actually did quite well. He popped up on the left, didn't he, a couple of times? Crossing, and that was great to see. They weren't always the best crosses, but he obviously was on the left-hand side when he set up the goal as well, wasn't he? He'd made a run across to the left. So maybe there's a future for him maybe playing on the left side more, and maybe get Aubameyang more into the middle, you know. Maybe that might be something for the future. But I mean, I'm sure Arteta will sort it out. But yeah, I mean, I've been one of Pepe's biggest critics, because he has frustrated me. And I've not really, I haven't really liked the way that he's drifted too far out of games. But yesterday, fair play to him, he stepped up like everyone, and that was one of his better games, because he actually had a big influence on how we played and had an influence on the result. And that's what I want to see him do more now, you know, going forward next season in particular. So, you know, I'll give him full credit for that, because he deserved it yesterday. He played well.
Even Hector, before we do the player ratings, even Hector Bellerin, someone who I was a bit in the sense of, because I know he doesn't do what Arteta wants from his wing backs. But yesterday, he put in the shift and he did what he was asked. Yeah. But to a man, he was absolutely kept, apart from one moment where Sterling got through, Sterling did nothing else.
Yeah.
And again, as we said, I think all we've ever asked for is our players to give 100% on the pitch and leave it all on the pitch. And to a man, they all did. And by hook or by crook, we got to a final in the process of it. And that's why we can't complain even if we lost, because they left it all on the pitch. Yeah. That's what frustrates us. If they leave it all on the pitch, we can't complain. But when they don't, you see they can't be bothered. That's when it does your head in.
Yeah, exactly. You just want to see players giving everything, and that's what they've done. And Arteta deserves credit for that as well, but the players do. I mean, I just feel as though the players they've underperformed. They've been criticised a lot. A lot of them have. You know, pretty much most of the team at some point has been criticised, especially this season. And you could say rightly so with some of the performances that they've done. But I think they've started to show now that they're not bad players. And now they've got a system that they believe in. They've got a plan they believe in, and a way to get the best out of them. They've all improved, and I think we've seen that we have actually got some decent players. You look at the Chelsea team today. There's no way you can look at them and say they've got better players than us. I don't think they have. One or two, maybe. Yeah, they've got a couple of decent players. Pulisic is decent. I know he didn't play today. You know, and they've got one or two good players as well. But you know, I think we're quite similar to them, and they're going to finish probably in the top four. So we're not miles away, are we? As we are, no. We're not miles away at all.
No, as you said, it's all the reason we're in this situation was down to poor coaching in the first half of the season. from our previous head coach.
Yeah, the players didn't buy into him, did they? I don't know if they understood him, but they didn't buy into his methods. You could see they're down tools, aren't they? The players from about September, October time, they're down tools, and it's took Arteta a little while to get them up again, get them to believe in him, and now it's clear that they do. And look at the transformation. I say it's almost like we're a new team. You know, if you'd been asleep for the last 6 months, you'd seen Arsenal play in November, and you woke up yesterday and watched them play, you'd think there were 11 different players. You wouldn't think that's the same team. And that's credit to everybody, the players and the coach, I think, for that.
It's been a big week. To do it, it's good when you beat your Norwiches 4-0 and you beat your Leicester teams. But we've had it for years where we've had massive football matches and the players do not turn up. So to see that within a week twice and a clean sheet on top of that yesterday, brilliant.
Against a team that scored 20 goals against us in the last 7 games. Yeah, 20 goals they scored in 7 games. That's like nearly 3 a game. And yesterday they had 1 shot on target. That's just unbelievable. That, I mean, what a turnaround, and what every player's had a massive turn in their form, haven't they? Every single one of them, and it's just brilliant to see. And I'm just so excited about where we can go now with Arteta. I just hope that the club need to back him for no other reason. If they don't, he's going to walk away and he'll get a better job, because he's ambitious and that's what he wants. He wants to be successful. He wants to be successful at Arsenal first and foremost. But if he's not going to get back, he's not going to hang around, is he? He'll replace Pep at Man City. That's probably what will happen if we don't back him. So it's important that we back him, give him what he wants, show the same ambition. The club need to show the same ambition that he's got for us, and he's proved that already. He's got us at a cup final. From a position where we were more likely to get relegated when he took over, to get us into the cup final has been amazing. So he needs to be backed, and we need to get behind him, because otherwise he'll walk away, and I wouldn't blame him if that happened.
No, you're spot on, because I even said it on my channel. I said, if you know what, when Arteta said what he said in the press conference after the Liverpool game, I said to people, look, don't be surprised fast forward into next season if he's not backed. If you get a news flash on the phone from BT Sport or Sky Sports News that he's left, because he's not stupid. He's not going to put up with just working. It's like asking him to drive a car. Yeah,
he's ambitious. Yeah. That's what he is. He wants to be the best coach in the world ever. That's what he wants to be, and he wants to be that at Arsenal. But if Arsenal aren't going to give him the support he needs, he's never going to achieve that. So he'll think, well, I'm off. He'll go to Man City, or he'll go to Liverpool, or he'll go to some club, Barcelona, or someone that's going to back him, because that's what he deserves. He proved he deserves it, doesn't he? Now with what he's produced, with what he's got at the club now. If we win the FA Cup, he's in a massively strong position, isn't he? To say, look what I've done. I've got us in the Europe. I've won us a trophy. I've improved everybody. Give me what I want. And if the club don't do that, then I wouldn't blame him if he walked away in the summer.
Yeah, spot on.
I doubt he'll walk away in the summer, but
no, I'm sure
I know what you meant, Richard. But I think he'll see how it goes for the next season. See what he gets in.
Yeah,
they probably got a set of stuff that he needs to achieve and stuff like that. So. It really is exciting times, and the first team is now slowly getting sorted. It's now down to the guys upstairs to show us fans and Arteta and the world of football what direction we're going in. This window's a very short window because of COVID and that, but it's about starting to get everything into place to get our target. I want to see Arteta say, this is the player that I wanted. We worked tirelessly to get this player specifically because he was at the top of my shopping list in this position. Right? This is what we need to see from the board now. If they don't do it, I'm going to be on their backs more than anything else, because they are responsible for what happens on that pitch itself, as well as Arteta. But Arteta's hands will be tied, so it's down to them now.
When's the transfer window? Is it the 25th of July, is it?
27th to the 5th of October.
Right.
27th of July to the 5th of October.
Cool.
So it's very short. It's like a January transfer window, basically. And then, next year, you got the Euros, so it's going to be quite hard to get anybody in that window as well, because most of the top players are going to be playing for their country. So realistically, you're looking at like 2023. You know, 2022. Sorry, summer.
Yeah,
for Arteta to have a proper window.
Did you not feel a little bit, actually? I mean, I was thinking this yesterday, that the actual lockdown break that we had has actually really, really benefited us, because I think it's given Arteta like a pre-season where he's had the chance to get to know the players, work on certain things, and we've come back. And we've lost a few games since we come back, but you can see how much we've improved. Some of the games before lockdown were very Emery-like performances, wasn't they? I know we won a few games, but it was very poor, very Emery-like. But this lockdown break has really helped us, I think, and it's got Arteta to understand his players more. And I think that's why we've seen Ozil out of the team. That's why we've seen Guendouzi out of the team. You know, because he's learned a little bit more about them in the subsequent break. And it's almost been like we've had a pre-season now. This has been a few friendlies, and it's going to end up hopefully with us winning a trophy. And hopefully next season that we can go. And I think we've had a massive benefit from the break. And I think Arteta's used it really well as well to improve everybody. Because I think we've probably improved the most, haven't we, since lockdown? I think if you look at all the teams in the Premier League, Southampton maybe have played well as well. But I think we've improved. We're one of the teams that's improved the most, and I think that's because what Arteta did during that period. He didn't just sit back and wait for it all to start again. He was using his time properly, getting to know the players, and it's brilliant what he's done. And hopefully now, imagine when he gets a full pre-season, a proper pre-season next summer, imagine what he can do with that, with the players. It's just going to be brilliant, I think.
100%, Richard. 100%, mate. You know, you look at Arteta as a man himself. He's very, very proactive. So it's just nice to have a manager coach that is willing to go above and beyond, you know, to get things the way he wants. And he's dramatically changed the way that we've trained as well. He's brought in the drones. He's brought in his backroom staff, you know, and his depth and the way it's almost like like someone with OCD. He has everything in such a way that if it's not that way, he will drill it into you. It has to be this way, and if you don't do as I say, you're not going to see any first team action. So.
But that's almost what Jules Graham did as well, didn't he? When he first came with the defence, he worked on it, and eventually we got the results. It didn't even take that long, and that's what Arteta's doing. I agree. Yeah, he's got these ideas, and he's determined to get them across, and that's it. This is how we're going to do things, and everybody's got to buy into it or they're out. And that's a great attitude to have, isn't it? And it's already had positive results, and it's going to just get better and better. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, Daniel, you say something. Sorry.
He's on mute. Is he on mute? No, he's not.
Sorry. I had to mute for a second. Listen, lads, I'm gonna have to jump off here in a sec because I just looked at the time and I've got to do my own show on my own channel. So listen, I'm gonna have to jump off and.
You know what, Daniel. Cheers for coming anyway.
Take care.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, take it easy, mate. Have a good one. Yeah, take it easy.
Yeah, listen. Cheers. Thank you.
So we're getting to play rankings. We'll go around everyone's to get their own individual ratings.
I've just seen a comment on there from Brownie saying he thinks I'm delusional and that I'm funny.
He's a non-Arsenal fan. He doesn't count.
Oh, he's hilarious. Well, we'll find out. We'll see how delusional I am when we've won the league in 2 years.
Oh, Rich. I'm going to say,
you're brave, Richard. You're brave. I like it.
Years, mate. Bloody hell.
To be fair, Richard's been saying this for a while now, the last few weeks since we come back, about the 2-year thing. And he's got a point because obviously Man City are now they're at the end of their 3-year cycle, so they've got a rebuild now. No matter what happens, Champions League or whatever, they've got a rebuild from this summer onwards. Liverpool, they've done this is their third season of what they've had, so they're going to, after next season, they're going to have to start rebuilding as well. So their season beyond Man City, so this is like a perfect opportunity for the likes of us to counter that and catch up with them quicker than what we would do normally. Because every team has that 3-year period. We had that in the Wenger years, 2001-2002 season, we won a double. Following season, we just lost out in the league, but we won the FA Cup, went invincible, and then 04-05, just to league, but just able to league up. After that, 0506, at least that team fell away.
Yeah, you've got to start to rebuild. But what you've got to do is, if you're clever, you do it one or two players at a time. But most teams don't, because when you're successful, you don't want to suddenly get rid of your players, do you? Because they've won your stuff, so you keep them. Keep them, and sometimes you keep them too long. And will Klopp do the same? You know, he's got a few older players now in his squad. He's going to have to start replacing them, isn't he? Will he find the same quality? Probably not, because the same quality is probably not there. So I think they're going to drop down, and I think the gap's going to close really quickly. And not necessarily us. I'm not necessarily saying it's going to be us, but I think in the next 2 years, somebody other than Man City or Liverpool is going to win the league. And we can do the groundwork now, and we can be ready to put ourselves in that position like the season that Leicester had a few years ago. You know, maybe it'll be us, maybe it'll be Man United, because they're rebuilding. Chelsea are rebuilding. You know, even someone like Wolves. You know, they could. You know, they're not miles away from having a really strong team, are they? So I think
heavy investment. Yeah.
As long as it's not Tottenham.
Well, it's not going to.
We've had some real surprise seasons. You know, I God forbid that day ever happens.
No, I'm not. Tottenham might win something.
I will come off all social media. Like I will go ghost for a whole entire year.
It's like last season there. When they beat Ajax, I physically felt sick because I thought that could. I don't think I could have gone to work. I would have gone into a bunker or something, because that could, if that happened, oh my god! But it didn't. So the nightmare was over.
To be honest with you, out of the two, and I remember I had this conversation last year. Would someone said to me, "Would you rather Spurs won the Premier League or the Champions League?" Well, clearly they can't win the Champions League before us. Absolutely no chance they can do that. No. It's not going to happen. So if I had to choose, it would be the Premier League. But hopefully,
100%. Yeah, 100%.
They'll never win anything, will they? That means anything. Let's face it. So it's not going to be a problem. But if I had to choose, I would definitely prefer them to win the Premier League as opposed to, unless we win the Champions League, then they can do what they like. We've got to win it before they do. But that's just not. We've won everything else before them, pretty much. So it just needs to be the same. So let's make sure that doesn't happen.
In terms of Tottenham winning, I think there's more chance of Watford or West Ham winning something before them. So Watford about to be relegated. So
there's more chance of us winning something again for another season.
I think that's a good thing of like. I think that's why with us having Arteta, I think that's why the excitement is there, and we're sort of trying to say to ourselves, you know what, this is good, but let's just calm down. But I think because if he hadn't come, and obviously we can look at things hypothetically or you know, or hindsight, whatever, but it could have been no word of a lie. Liverpool have had some excellent managers, excellent players, and they've never won the Premier League over the course of the 25 whatever. So don't get it twisted. That could have happened to Arsenal. Like, it's not an exaggeration. You know, it could be a long time. We've had to wait 16 years at the moment since last time won the Premier League. It could happen. But Arteta's given us that at the end of the tunnel to say, you know what, this is what could happen potentially.
Yeah, exactly, and I think Liverpool's a good example, because, like you said, they failed to win the league all them years with good teams, good managers in the past. They never did it, did they? You know, and we haven't won the league for a long time, and you know, partly that's because we maybe haven't quite had the backing financially because of the new stadium and other stuff going on. But like you said, Arteta's given us hope now that. You know, and I think Liverpool have given us hope how they've done it. You know, Leicester gave us hope when they did it. You know, it's possible to do, isn't it? And you can come from a position of not particular strength and build something with the right people doing the jobs, and that's what we've got now. And we just need, I say, if he's back, I've got no doubt at all that we will be challenging again very soon for everything, for the Premier League again, for getting back into the Champions League and competing in that again. You know, and let's hope that the plan can be carried through. Arteta's plan he's got can be carried through, and let's hope it can, because if it is, then it's going to be, you know, I might be delusional, but I believe that's what it's going to be. You know, I think we're going to have we've got an exciting few years ahead, as long as we keep Arteta and we continue to build on what he's done so far.
Yeah, true. Spot on, mate. Spot on.
Yeah, so we're getting to player ratings. So we'll start with the goalkeeper. I'll come to Richard first. Martinez, obviously, the goalkeeper. We'll go start with him. So what would you give him out of 10 yesterday?
He wasn't actually as busy as I thought he was going to be. I was anticipating him having to make a lot of saves, and he didn't have to. Everything he did, he was competent with. You know, whether it was in the air, a couple of shots he had to save, he did well. His distribution was generally good. I would give him probably 8 out of 10. I would say, just because he didn't have much to do. If he'd had to make 3 or 4 more saves, there may be more. But I think 8 out of 10 is what I would give him.
Okay. What about yourself, Lewis?
Yeah, I'll give him an 8 out of 10. I think the most difficult save he had to make was against Mahrez, very low to his left, held on to it really well, and he actually, he didn't do his usual stupidity with the ball at his feet yesterday. I noticed he kept it nice and simple and just made the simple pass rather than trying to do a little Cruyff turn and a step over and stuff like that. He did well. I'll give him. Did I say 8? Yeah, 8 out of 10.
Yeah. And how about yourself, Albert?
Yeah, definitely 8. Like I said, he's the thing with Martinez. He's to me. If I was a defender, I'd feel very assured of him behind me. He's very good on the ball. When he had to go, he went long. When he had to play it short, he played it short. And like Lewis said, like I was going through my notes, like the only save of note he had to make was the Mahrez shot, which he held on to brilliantly. And he's actually a bigger goalkeeper than I thought he was. Looking at him, he's massive.
He's about 6 foot something. Yeah.
Yeah, he's massive. Yeah, massive, very imposing. So yeah, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with you there. 8 out of 10. As Paul said, if he had a few more shots at him, maybe. But yeah, that one notable save, obviously, the Mahrez one, that's obviously kept it at 1-0 at the time. Apart from that, he didn't really get tested. And even that shot, that save itself was good because he was going one way, he just fought to at the last second. Yeah. And he held on to it as well. Not many goalkeepers do it. Another trait he's got, he likes to hold on to the ball, he doesn't like to push it out. And
he sticks to him, doesn't it? Always sticks to him. Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah.
Something I can't remember. I find it was in the chat. I did put it on the screen earlier, but they're saying in terms of the goalkeeper situation we're in, it's sort of a throwback to when we had David Seaman and Alex Menninger in '98. Two top goalkeepers, and even David Seaman said in that time was that injured and Menninger came in. Seeing how he performed, that pushed me more to be even better.
Exactly. No, it's a good situation to be in, definitely.
I'll go for the right wing back now. We'll go right wing back to Nova. So Hector Bellerin. Again, we'll start with yourself, Richard.
I thought he played well, actually. I mean, he defended for most of it. I know he had a couple of dodgy moments, but I think for most of the game he defended well, didn't he? He got forward well a few times when he could. I know we were pinned back a little bit, especially second half, but I thought he had a decent game. He's still not quite back to his old self, is he? I think the injury is still affecting him, but he seems to be adapting his game to maybe compensate for his loss of pace a little bit. So I thought he actually did well. He had a couple of shaky moments, maybe 7 out of 10 for Bellerin, perhaps, just because of the couple of shaky moments that he had. But he had a good game overall, I thought.
Yeah. And Lewis, what about yourself?
Yeah, 7 out of 10. For me, he didn't really do anything that was really outstanding. He done his job. I think with Cedric coming in and fit now, I think he's now realised that he needs to step up. He needs to start, making the right decision at the right time. And without him, Pepe don't put in the cross for the goal. So solid 7.
Yeah. And Albert.
Yeah, I would have said a 7 as well. I think Lewis made a good point about Cedric Soares, because when Cedric played that little cameo appearance against Norwich and he scored, he was only 15 minutes, but he was whipping balls in left foot, right foot, and the main thing he was doing, he was overlapping to give Pepe space, which Bellerin doesn't do because he likes to cut inside. But he was solid yesterday. Like I said, that I would have given him an 8, but I'm not going to give him an 8 because of that pass he done in the first half. The Bruyne, the pre-assist almost. So no, he gets a 7. He was solid, but yeah, I would say that
7. Again, I think I have to agree with that. Yeah, didn't do too much, but didn't do anything wrong apart from that one pass. Even had my father. Oh no, no, not tonight. Oh, don't prove me right tonight. All night if I can do it, not tonight. No. But thankfully, dug in and filled the 90 minutes, and actually, as I said earlier, kept my Sterling quiet most of the night. Mustafi now went off injured about near the end, or so they say. He'll be probably playing on fucking But yeah, Mustafi put himself on the line. Decided yourself, let's do this. What would you give him out of 10?
Oh my god, this guy really frustrates me to high heaven. You know, I have a lot of my friends say, "Oh, he's good." I'm like, he's really not. But he kind of shut me up yesterday. When he made that mistake very early on in the game, I was like, "Oh no, here we go," sort of thing. But he woke up after that. And I think that's a little bit to do with David Luiz and a bit to do with Martinez, because they were on him for the whole entire game, and you could see his confidence just growing and growing and growing. He was everywhere, and he put himself on the line. I want to be generous, he gets an 8. He just was a solid defender. You know, he didn't, apart from that one thing he did, he was good. Yeah. I have to give him a very solid 8 out of 10, which is generous for me.
Just because of Mustafa, but it sounds of it. Albert, what about yourself?
Oh, you know what? I'm in between the 7 and the 8. I'll tell you why. Obviously, that mistake in the first half. But what he did do well, which he's done throughout, which he hasn't done very well in his career, is he always goes to ground. And in the second half, I actually thought that could have gone either way, that VAR. I genuinely thought it could have gone either way. And I thought, no. The one time he's dived in, he's done it in the area. And so it's for that I'll give him a 7. Because that could have gone either way.
Okay.
And that would have gotten back in the...
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of agreeing with Albert there. I think that he is sort of between a 7 and an 8. I thought overall he was decent, but he did have a couple of mad moments, didn't he? Which on another day might well have cost us. I mean, I actually thought that was a good tackle in the end on Sterling. I know it looked dodgy, didn't it? It could easily have been given. Had the referee given a penalty, they probably wouldn't have overturned it on VAR. But because he didn't give it, they probably didn't think it was enough. I mean, he did get the ball before he kind of fouled him, but he did dive in when he didn't need to, really. But my heart was like up here, you know what I mean, when he did it. So, I mean, I thought he had a decent game. Let's not, you know, I kind of agree with Lewis to a degree as well, but I'm not sure if he's quite worthy of an 8, unfortunately. So I'm gonna agree with Albert and go over 7, I think.
Okay. I'll give him 7.5 because
I didn't know we could do half.
If we hadn't made that mistake in that one, you know, it didn't cost us. If we hadn't made that one error in the first half, I think it would have been an 8, just because of that. That sort of element of brain fart moment he has, and I'm like, no. Like that.
Yeah, it's true.
David Luiz now. We'll go again, start with yourself, Lewis. So David Luiz. A couple of weeks ago against City. Had a nightmare. Comes back, changed himself.
This guy has a lot of character, and when we was linked to him, I was like, nah, another Chelsea reject, just looking to top up his pension, and you know, not really fall into line with the philosophy and stuff like that. Gets red cards, has a few mad moments, and you're thinking, here we go again. Last night, I have to sing this man's praises. He led that back line like a trooper. He was everywhere, blocking, tackling, heading, passing, everything. That is what that was the David Luiz when he was at his prime of Chelsea, that game. And I want to see more of that week in, week out now. He's now set the standard so high now, he cannot drop below that. So I'll give him an 8 just for the sheer fact that he really did step up his game, and you know, Jesus didn't really get a sniff, and he was just everywhere. He was like Spider-Man. David Luiz with another clearance. David Luiz blocked. He was bloody everywhere. I've never heard that guy's name said in such a positive way by the commentators.
Literally, just him and Mustafi at one point just throwing themselves in front of the ball just to make sure he didn't get the fucking goal. And that's something I want from my defenders, to put their bodies on the line if they have to, just do everything to make sure that ball does not go in that net. And as I said, he was everywhere. And after the match, obviously, when they're all coming together, celebrating and all that, and he's that guy like Ainsley and all that. And, well done, but this is what.
That was a good touch. That's a really good touch.
But yeah, and the fact he's still, even in that interview, they tried going back to a couple of weeks ago. He said, yeah, because they like saying that obviously we had a bad defeat, this, that, and the other. No, it was all my again. It was all my fault. I got the criticism. It's my fault. End of the. But we moved on tonight with a different game, and we did what we had to do. And we again, it's all believing in what you can see that the belief in what Arteta's trying to install, and it's coming from the senior players as well. David Luiz has sung Arteta's praises like I wouldn't believe, even during lockdown. The amount of times he was singing his praises on the video and right on Adidas and all that. So yeah, an A for me. Perfect for all of David Luiz because he was immense compared to what we was expecting when we saw the lineups of De Bruyne, Sterling, Mahrez, fucking you name it, all up against him. And in fact, we've got a clean sheet as well. Richard, what was your score for Luiz?
I mean, I think you've both been a little bit
I was expecting to give
conservative with it. I thought he was absolutely unbelievable, honestly. You know, I'm almost tempted to give him a 10. Almost tempted to give him a 10 because it was almost faultless. It was almost faultless what he did yesterday. He was just everything. He won everything. He led from the back. He was just brilliant. And that ball he put through for Aubameyang as well when he missed that first chance. I mean, he can play football, the guy, you know. And sometimes maybe people focus on. He makes mistakes sometimes because he's trying to play football. He's a footballer. He's not a defender. He's not a Tony Adams defender, is he? He's a footballer. He's great with the ball at his feet. He can ping them long 40-yard passes. He put that through ball yesterday. I mean, he's a great all-round player. And what happens is he'll make one mistake in one game, right? He'll have 12, 15 games when he's good. He'll make another mistake, and everyone says he always makes mistakes. No, he doesn't always make mistakes. He makes one mistake every 20 games. Do you know what I mean? And the rest of the time, he's decent. Yesterday, he was very, very good. In fact, I'm going to give him 10 out of 10 because I think he deserves it. I think he was brilliant, and I love the guy. I love this interview afterwards. I think he's a great role model for the young players at the club, and I just love him. I think he's brilliant, and I'm giving him 10, and he gets an extra point for his hair as well.
What about yourself, Albert, as well for David Luiz?
I was definitely a 10. I was shocked you guys gave him an 8.
Yeah, it's harsh, man.
What's he got to do to get a 10?
Well,
You needed to score a hat trick, and then he would have got a 10.
no.
I think we don't give that 10 for no reason. That was a 10, man. Seriously, because you know we go back to Project Restart and you know getting sent off against Man City, and it's no secret when Conte had him at Chelsea. Conte's not a stupid manager. He said, you know what, this guy's got to play in a free. He cannot play him as a centre back pairing. He's got to play. He's better in a free. We know he's a good footballer. He's good on the ball. Pick a pass, like Richard made the point. The great pass to Aubameyang in the first half. Won everything, headed everything. That block from Sterling was different class. There wasn't nothing he did wrong. Everything he did was right. And to put in that performance and to get a clean sheet against a team that has absolutely annihilated us. We haven't beaten for 4 years. No, 3 years, sorry. In the league, it's 4 years, 5 years. Sorry. So, a 10. Perfect 10.
You know, they haven't lost a game in the cup in 22.
Yeah.
You know, they won 22 domestic cup games in a row.
We ended it.
Can I change my scoring? Can I give him a 10?
No, definitely a 10, man. That was by far. 100%.
I think a slight adjustment to mine and Lewis. It's going to be a 10 by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I'm changing mine to a 10 now. Richard and Vinny.
Richard came to he's like, you know what?
Give David Luiz a 10, man. I might go play the lottery as well now.
Left centre back now, Kieran Tierney.
Oh my God!
Someone that's literally
breath of fresh air. That guy.
Breath of fresh air. And in terms of his natural position, the best left back we've had since Ashley Cole, in my opinion. But again, played in the left centre back role, and he didn't look out of place. And again, because he liked defending, he was fucking phenomenal. And that pass. That assist for Aubameyang goal, and even how humble he spoke in the interviews afterwards. That weren't a goal scoring pass. Aubameyang made it. It's the humbleness in it as well. And then obviously when the picture, as we mentioned, came out, he's seen it. Like, I didn't know he was going to put it post up. I'm sorry. And obviously the fan. I saw that. the fan obviously came in and said, we'll just use it as an excuse to say F you to my cancer, obviously the cancer he's got, and hope he gets, by the way, I hope that guy gets better.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Definitely.
Obviously, and like Tilly and then responds back, definitely. Someone we've been screaming at for years in terms of he's got a winning mentality, he can defend, he can get forward, he can fucking cross. But for me, again, he's got to have a 10 as well. We'll go for
Listen, if you go through my timeline on Twitter, mate, I've been talking about this guy for time, even before we signed him. Love Kieran Tierney. He's like my man crush. You know what? The thing is, when Arteta put him, when I think was it the Liverpool game, he put him as left centre back. And I thought to myself, but then when I thought about it, really, I thought actually, if you've seen Kieran Tierney play for Scotland, obviously because they've got Robertson and Tierney, one plays left back, one plays centre back. So Tierney normally plays centre back. Yeah. So I thought, actually, you know what? It's not that bad a transition. But when you actually saw him play in the position, defensively positioning perfect, spotting dangers, brilliant crossing abilities, we know. Like you said, Brian, I never saw Kenny Sampson play, which I would have loved to see him play, but yeah, definitely best left back we will have since Ashley Cole, 100%. So he gets I'm not going to give him a 10 because that will lose my man in the match. So Kieran Tierney a 9.
Okay.
Oh, you're being harsh on Tierney there, man.
Harsh on Tierney, I love him, mate.
I'm joking with you. I'm joking. Hopefully, I can get my rating right this time.
Yeah. Don't give him a decent mark.
Man, he has transformed that left side. He can play anywhere. I guarantee you can put him right back, and he'll get exactly the same performance. That guy he's an athlete. He can pass, he can cross, he can defend, he can header, and he's always in. His reading of the game as well doesn't get enough credit, because as a defender playing that left centre half position, you got to know where to be at the right time. He was just there, you know. I'm so happy for the young man to get over his injuries and to really show a lot of the fan base how good he is, you know, and he's fast becoming a fan's favourite. He gets a 9.5. He gets a 9 just for the sheer fact that the ball over the top to Aubameyang and to read the situation. You know, that pass made the goal right there. That pass made, because when you look at how far City were pushing up, and he just clips that ball over the top, you just knew what was going to happen. You just knew what was going to happen. Brilliant pass.
Literally, Pepe, when that moment Pepe passes the ball, he didn't take a first touch on anything. He just literally went ping. And Aubameyang read it and like bang. And obviously, and for that, that's what I'm saying. It's just fantastic. And thank God we've got this guy. I'm pissed off it took us all summer to do it, but still.
That was so annoying, honestly. Oh my God.
I think Celtic were the ones trying to play hardball, knowing the fact that he was one of their best players, you know, and he was injured and stuff like that. But 25 million for a left-sided defender, I'll take my money. Take my money. Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't ask for something like 30 to 50 million. You know,
but in the Scottish Premier League, like they're 20 million. You know, it's like just like us paying 70 million for a left back. So
definitely.
What about yourself, Richard? What was your score for?
Well, I mean, I can't really disagree with anything that's been said. I mean, I've got to be honest, I was a little bit slow getting on the Tierney bandwagon, I must admit. He turned up injured, and then he played a couple of games and got injured again, and it's like everyone was saying, oh, he's the next captain. I'm like, well, he's played like 2 games, you know what I mean? Let's calm down. But to be fair, over the last 6, 7, 8 games that he's played in a row, he's been brilliant every single game. He's getting better and better, and I just love the guy now. now. I think he's fantastic, and he's probably the best left back we've had for a long time. You know, you mentioned Ashley Cole, Kenny Jensen. He's a bit like Nigel Winterburn actually, in his kind of attitude on the pitch. I just love him, and the good thing is he can play left centre back in a 3. He can play left back in a 4. He can play left wing back in a 3. He's very versatile. He's good going forward. He can deliver a ball, but most importantly, his defensive play is just unbelievable. Reading the danger, like you said, you know, that's what he does so well. He doesn't have to fly in with tackles because he just knows where the danger is and he gets there and he cuts things out. And with the ball at his feet, he's brilliant. I mean, I thought he was excellent again yesterday. I don't think he was quite as good as David Luiz, so I can only really give him a 9, but it's a high 9. You know what I mean? It's not far off. So yeah, brilliant again, and he's been brilliant now for probably 7-8 games. So long may it continue.
For sure.
Yeah. The interesting one, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. What do you guys give him? For me, out of position, fantastic job. Kept my eyes absolutely in his pocket all day long. Put a shift in. You can ask more from Ainsley last night. For me, again, it's got to be a 10 because he was absolutely phenomenal.
Wow!
And that's coming from
Ratings, man,
that's proper ratings, mate.
Yeah, man.
And I have to admit, when I saw the lineup, I thought that would be, because obviously seeing their lineup, I thought that would be where we'd be finding trouble. But not an absolute issue at all. Like we said with everyone else, every single player to a man put a shift in. But for him to playing that position on the left hand side, out of position, and that fantastic. We'll go, Albert. What do you give him now?
Well, I'm not giving him. I'm not giving a bloody 10. But no,
you can't put more than one 10 out.
Oh yeah, no, fair play. It's when I found he was starting, I was like, wow, where's that come from? But you know what? He's obviously listened to Arteta, you know, on the training field, because obviously it was quite documented that Ainsley wasn't sort of the attitude was a bit questionable, to say the least. But for Arteta to put him in, fair play to him, man. And to play in that position, and like I said when we were talking earlier, it's not just about playing wing back and being the defensive cover. It's about giving us something offensively, and I thought he balanced both of those aspects really, really well. And yeah, I don't know, this is hard to give him a rate. I'm going to give him an 8 because I gave Bellerin a 7. Ainsley gets an 8. 8 out of 10.
Lewis, how about yourself?
I'm really happy for Ainsley because, you know, he's come into a team where he's been in and out. You know, his attitude's got him into a lot of trouble with a couple of the managers. And he always sees himself as a central midfielder. And every manager that we've had has played him as a fullback. So for him to actually, you know, swallow his pride a little bit and say, do you know what, Gaff? I'll do that job for you. I'll play out of position. And what a game he had. I had someone say, oh, you know, Ainsley didn't really offer us anything. I was like, the sole reason why Ainsley was in that team was to nullify Sterling's pace. And he did a blinding job. You know, really happy for the guy. I'm going to give him 8.5, just for the sheer fact that he was playing out of position, and you know, he got home, he emptied out his pockets, car keys fall out, the wallet falls out, and so does Sterling. So yeah, man, really happy for that guy.
Did he play well? He's brilliant. Yeah, he was.
Richard.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a shock that he got selected there. I mean, I think Saka would have been favourite to have started in that position, but he obviously did put him in to do a job like he'd done at Wolves on Traore. He kind of put him in to do that job. I thought defensively he was brilliant, really. He did what he had to do. The only thing that slightly frustrated me was there was a few times going forward when he got himself into great positions, some great overlapping runs. His final ball was terrible. You know, he put in 3 or 4 dreadful crosses, which, you know, we could have got another goal from, you know, really good position to cross from, and that was the only thing that let him down, I thought. And maybe that's because he's not on his natural side, was he? He was on his left side rather than right. I don't know if that was why. but some of his crosses were not great. Let's be honest. But he made up the ground and he got in those positions. He just needed to have a little bit more quality. So I think that maybe knocks his mark down. I'd say maybe an 8, just because of the fact that if he'd maybe had a little bit more quality on his crosses, then he might well have justified a 9 or a 10. But just because of that, really, I'm going to give him an 8. But he played really well, and he, considering it was a position that he was put in a team for that one particular role only, wasn't it? And he did it, carried it out. So yeah, I think 8 out of 10 for Ainsley. He was brilliant. Yeah.
Okay, just to move on. Winston on the chat saying it's comparing Lauren's situation, because Lauren came in as a midfielder as well, and got straight away got converted to a fullback. And look at the career he had.
Good shout.
Right, Jacques, got it in Jacques now. We're going over the pairing. We're at Jacques first. We'll start with yourself, Lewis.
He was just Mr. Simple, wasn't he? I suppose because a lot of the game was played on the edge of our 18, you didn't really see too much of him. Well, me personally, I didn't really see him too much. But what he did well. Got the ball, got passing. He gets an 8, a solid 8. He just did his job, simple and effective, and he didn't do his usual. Oh, let me just turn left, like we've seen him over the years, and he gets caught. He wasn't getting caught yesterday, so I'll give him an 8.
Richard, what about yourself?
I think we touched on it earlier. I thought that was his best game for Arsenal. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, and he maybe because he did do the simple things, but he did the simple things well, and he got himself in the right positions to snuff out the danger, and I actually thought, as brilliant as David Luiz was, for me, Granit Xhaka was man of the match for us, and I'm going to have to give him a 10 as well, just because he was as good as David Luiz, but slightly better, if you see what I mean, just because of, maybe it's because he was slightly further up the pitch, but I just thought he was brilliant in everything that he did, and not only in his performance on the pitch, which was brilliant, but just the way he leads the team. He's the natural captain for me, and I know he had problems with it before, but I don't see any reason why he can't have the armband back, because to me he's the natural player on that pitch that leads the team. He's the leader there, isn't he? You can see him shouting, he's getting everybody going, and he did that brilliantly yesterday, and in a big game as well. I have a lot of criticism that he's had as well over the 4 years he's been at Arsenal. He's took a lot of criticism, particularly after what he did earlier in the season as well. He took a lot of stick for that, rightly so. But what he's done since then, the way he's turned it around, he was almost out the door, wasn't he, before Christmas at the club? He was never going to play again. And look at the performances he's put in week after week after week now. And yesterday was just the accumulation of that. And he was absolutely fantastic. He's definitely, for me, man of the match. I'm giving him 10. I'd give him more than 10 if I could. I'd give him 25 out of 10. I love the guy. I love it.
Before we go to yourself, Albert, I'm going to give my rating as well. I'll give him a 9, just because, he's, as I said earlier, one of his best games since he's been at the club in 3-4 years now it's been. So, and he looks so. Everything he did was effortless. And I remember there's one shot that Man City had, De Bruyne had in the first half.
Yeah, brilliant.
Where him and Tobias had to track back, and between them they helped each other keep the ball out. Tobias threw himself in front of the ball, and Xhaka got the ball and hoofed it.
Yeah.
But they're both. For the fact that he's willing to come back now, since Arteta's come back and help out the defence instead of just pushing forward. That's another thing that Arteta's improved. But this is what I'm saying. Little tweaks here and there of certain players, and we're seeing that because of what we've seen before. We're seeing them little tweaks. They're producing better performances, and they are looking at better players as well. Yeah. Albert, what about yourself, though?
Oh, Xhaka, my best friend. I said it at the start. When we signed him, I'll be honest with you guys. I couldn't believe it. I'm not saying that in a good way. I just thought. I've not seen him play that much, from, I think it was in Mönchengladbach he came from, was it? I saw him play for Switzerland millions of times. I thought, what have we bought? We bought someone that's ill-disciplined, gets booked all the time, doesn't react very quickly. I sort of thought, why have we bought him? But going back to yesterday, I said it, he's been his full season at Arsenal now. But for me, his best game for Arsenal by a country mile. Didn't get booked. Did he get booked yesterday? No. Stayed on his feet. Didn't kept it simple. Assured on the ball. Never seen caught out of position once. I get why Richard say he's man of the match, because I thought it was tight for me out of him and Luiz, but I'll give it to Luiz. But yeah, Xhaka was. I'm not afraid to admit he was outstanding. So I'll give him a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, not one. I was looking at the lineup and team sheets of both teams, and not one player was booked yesterday. Apparently.
Wow,
But,
that's
unbelievable. That is.
Just shows you the level.
Semi-final, yeah. As well. You'd expect someone to do a late challenge or something, wouldn't you?
I actually thought Mustafi or Luiz was going to get sent off when I saw the team sheet.
One more thing before the captain from Richard said about Xhaka. Personally, I think the captain's armband, Tierney, 100%.
Not yet. Keep
not
it
right now.
out.
Not right now.
Future,
100%.
Future, yes. But for me, with Xhaka, still needs to. For me personally, he still needs to apologise properly. For me, that was a half-hearted attempt at an apology. And I know there's a lot of Xhaka fans that say, "Oh, but this, but that." I get the fact that
he was,
all the death. I don't condone that at all.
Yeah.
When we're chasing a game and we're trying to win the game, and you're the captain, and you decide to have a paddy fit on the pitch, throw down the armband, and then walk off swearing, then you've just not only have you let yourself down, but you've let the rest of your teammates down by doing that. And then the onslaught he was going to get after that, it was almost like it was coming to him. I'm glad that he's turned the corner, and I hope that this is the start of him becoming more consistent. Like David Luiz, he's just set that bar here way up high, and he can't drop below it now. So for me, if the more Xhaka plays the way he did last night, the more he will win me over. But that's probably the reason why I kind of marked him slightly lower. But I'm really happy for him.
That's fair enough.
We're going to move on now to Danny Ceballos, who since that quarter final has been coming on leaps and bounds in terms of performances. We'll go for you, Lewis, first.
Him and Xhaka had a very similar job. They both complemented. They're starting to complement each other well. They know each other's game inside and out, and you can see there's a reason why Arteta keeps picking them week in, week out. Danny's passing range as well is very good. His vision's very good. You know, it's a solid 8. You know, I don't think he did anything that was overly outstanding, but he wasn't underly poor. It was like a really good, solid performance for the sheer fact his midfield partner was matching him for work rate.
Yeah, Albert, what about yourself?
Yeah, I'd say an 8 as well. I think I thought a little bit in the first sort of 15 minutes he was getting caught a couple of times, just holding on to the ball a bit too long. But gradually through the first half and throughout the whole of the match, I thought just his vision. There's one pass he clipped. I don't think he even looked. He just clipped it to the left-hand side with that. It was just a brilliant. It looked like a simple pass, but it was just brilliant. He's always comfortable in the ball. And the thing I like about Ceballos is he always takes the ball on the half turn. So when you take the ball on the half turn, you can transition the play a bit quicker. And he's always been good at that. It's good to see him get a run of games, because obviously, you know, you had the good game against Burnley and people getting excited and signing him up. Was like, calm down. And they had the injury and he never really got a run of games. But now you're seeing why the performances he's putting in recently. So yeah, I would say, 8 out of 10 definitely.
Yeah, Richard.
Yeah, pretty much agree with everything that's been said. I mean, he's really improved his performances in the team alongside Xhaka, hasn't he, over the last few games, 6-7 games, whatever it is now, and he's looking really good. And again, yesterday he was good. Yeah, he had a few iffy moments, but I think everybody, pretty much all of them, did at some point. You know, you're playing Man City, aren't you? You're never going to have it all your own way. But yeah, I agree. He's really, really come on in leaps and bounds lately, and the two together, he kind of complements Xhaka and Xhaka complements him. He's good at the things Xhaka isn't good at, and Xhaka's maybe good at the things he isn't good at, and between them, they've got it well sussed at the minute. I think we need something different as well to add to it to go forward. But I think he was brilliant. Yeah, I'd say an 8 out of 10 for Ceballos, definitely. Yeah, and a high 8 as well. I thought he was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all agreeing on that. I think an 8, a very reasonable score for him.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Pepe now, and work our way across to obviously the man on the moment, Aubameyang. But go with Pepe first. Richard, your favourite player?
Yeah, I mean, I've been really, really critical of him, mainly because he frustrates the hell out of me. You know, you can see he's got a lot of technical ability, you know, and he just doesn't seem to use it enough, or use it to give enough influence on the games. You know, I said it before. I thought yesterday he actually did have an influence, didn't he, in both the goals and just in his general play as well. I thought he had a much better game. He's still a little bit weak on the ball, gets pushed off it too easily, and he's still got improvements to make. But he seems like, I mean, I thought he was very poor against Liverpool. Arteta kept him in the team, so obviously Arteta is maybe wanting to build his confidence a little bit. You know, keep picking him for the big games. And to be fair, he stepped up and played well yesterday. You know, he's still not anywhere near performing to the level I want to see him perform at, and what I believe he's capable of doing. And hopefully he can start building some confidence now. But I mean, yesterday he did well. He had a hand in both goals, and just for that alone, he probably deserves an 8 for the fact that he had such a big influence on the goals that we scored. Even if at other times he drifted in and out a little bit too much still, but he had an end product yesterday, and that's, for me, that's what his job is in the team, and he did it. So yeah, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, Lewis, what about yourself?
Yeah, 8 out of 10. He in the final third, he did the right thing at the right time. I thought a couple of iffy moments, but the biggest thing I noticed that he was tracking back. Not many people would notice that he was tracking back, and you know, he actually mucked in with the ugly side of the game. You know, and Pepe's not used to that, so good. And the ball in for the goal was sublime. It was so delicious. You know, as a striker or as a player on the opposite side, that's what you want in it. You know, so Pepe gets a solid 8 out of 10.
And just mentioning that first goal, Arsenal all day this morning put out a tweet, and they were comparing Monreal's goal against Man City 2017 with Pepe.
Similar, yeah, he just obviously Aubameyang put it in the opposite corner of the net where he went near post. Very similar.
I suppose use that sort of the outside of the foot as well.
Yeah, very similar.
Albert, what about yourself?
Yeah, I'd say 8 out of 10. Yeah, hand in both goals. Like Lewis said, the cross for the first goal was brilliant. Had a hand in the second goal. I actually was surprised. I actually didn't think he would start yesterday. I get a lot of people saying he did put in a defensive display against Liverpool, but I still thought he was a bit anonymous personally. So I didn't think he would start yesterday. But he is. He's got amazing ability on the ball. The way he goes past players like they're not there, but you want to see more of an end product. Not even just that. I want to see him actually have a shot at goal. It's like, you know, do the basics. Like, you've got the ability. When you get in areas to shoot. So Arteta draws that into him, and you know, I want to see how he gets on next season, having like a full season in the Premier League. So some people need time to adapt. Some people don't. Hopefully, you know, we'll see even more of him next season. So yeah, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think we're all going to again agree. Again, an 8 out of 10. I think is a pretty good score considering how much work rate and everything. A very high 8 as well. Lacazette now. We'll go with you. Start with you, Albert.
Oh, Lacazette, man! I'll tell you what. He's not a big guy, but his hold-up play is second to none. And actually, yesterday he typified that. He was brilliant. He came really deep to pick up the ball. He was laying in Uber. He was laying in Pepe. He was getting the ball out wide to the wing backs. He just good upper body strength and just giving us that breather. And you know, you can as a midfield player, you can get the ball to him, and you can rely on him. I actually thought he would score yesterday because his record against the big boys is pretty good. I think he scored against all. But But no, Lacazette, I thought his whole lot of play was that he was outstanding. For me, I would give him a 9.
Okay. Richard, do you agree or?
What I mean, I agree with the fact that yes, he drops deep, holds the ball up, and he's a good outlet. But funnily enough, watching the Chelsea game earlier, Giroud done all of that for us, but scored more goals and he's just better at it. And I think that he came in as a replacement for Giroud in a way, didn't he? Because he came and then Giroud left, and he's trying to play, or it seems like he's trying to play a similar role in the team, and he's doing it as best as he can. But I just feel that Giroud, unfortunately, is still better than him even now at that role. As we've seen he's scoring more goals as well. So I do like Lacazette. He works really hard for the team. He clearly he seems to be enjoying it again. He seemed like he went maybe before the lockdown. He wasn't enjoying his football, was he? He looked a bit down in the dumps. Where now he seems to be enjoying it again. He's been scoring a few goals lately, which is nice.
Yeah.
I agree. I thought he was going to score yesterday because he is a big game goal scorer, isn't he? He's tended to have done that. He scored against City in the past a couple of times. So, but yeah, he played well. The only thing for me is he doesn't get himself into enough goal scoring positions, does he? Even when Aubameyang scored that second goal, Aubameyang ran down the wing. He looked across for Lacazette. Lacazette almost stopped running and let was it Mendy, I think, get in front of him. Gut to get in there, did he? A real goal scorer would have busted gut to get in that 6-yard box, and if Aubameyang crossed it, he'd be there to finish it off. He wasn't there. Aubameyang had no choice other than to score, and he scored, which is great. But he almost doesn't make them runs. He doesn't get into the box enough. And if he got into the box more, he would score more goals because he can finish. He's known that he can, and I just feel that's the only thing lacking from his game, and he needs to do that more often. He needs to get himself in those positions to get on the end of things. When he's done that, he has scored a few more goals, hasn't he? He was trying to get Liverpool because he was in the right area of the pitch where he needed to be. Whereas he doesn't do that enough. So yesterday, I thought that was maybe missed a little bit. I'd say maybe his overall play was good. Maybe out of 10 would be what I would go with. But yeah, I mean, I just feel as though he's not quite as good at that job as Giroud was for us, and Giroud still is, unfortunately. Hopefully in the final he'll get the better of him and he'll get the goal out. That'd be great. But yeah, I think maybe 8 for yesterday anyway.
Shout out to Dan in the chat, the Ruthless Schooner TV, saying, "Good day, lads. Hope you're all well. I'll chat. I need a statue ASAP."
I'll make you
for that one.
We're giving one on the second, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Lewis, what about yourself?
I think I love what Lacazette does. He puts himself about. He wins a lot of free kicks. He does the dirty side, but I want him to be greedy. I want him to do his work the other way. I find he does too much of his work going backwards, and some might say it creates a bit of space for Aubameyang to run in behind. But as a striker, I want to be scoring the goals. I don't want to be turning back to run towards my own goal, right? And Lacazette really needs to find a good balance between knowing when to drop back and knowing when to go forward. He gets an 8 out of 10. It was just a normal day in the office for him. It would have been nice if he got on the score sheet, but I don't think he makes enough forward runs as a striker, as a number 9. He's not quite a 9, not quite a 10. He's almost like he almost plays as a false 9 in our system.
Yeah. I think I have to agree with Richard as well in terms of score. Sorry. Again, put a shift in, but as you said, they weren't pushing towards that goal for that. Obviously, Aubameyang scored, but giving Aubameyang the option to either go for it or not would have been things like that. So yeah. Talking of which, Aubameyang's next, our captain. We're going to start with Richard.
Well, I mean, Aubameyang. What I liked about Aubameyang yesterday was he missed that chance when he was clean 1-on-1 through, and he didn't have any composure at all. He got himself in a great position. There's a big, massive gap in the corner. He hit it straight at the keeper. But then, literally a minute later, 2 minutes later, he gets another chance and he puts it away. And that's a world-class finisher. Does that? You know, you can miss a chance. Don't let it get in your head. You forget it. Your next chance comes and you take it. He got the second goal. The second goal was brilliant, actually. You know, the way he took the ball on, cutting from that left-hand side. It was almost like Thierry Henry, wasn't it? The way he finished that, brilliant. And
finished it, opened up his body and all. Yeah,
exactly. And you know, he didn't do a lot else in the game, if we're honest. He worked hard defensively, which is what his roles asked him to do. I guess that's what he needs to do. So the fact he scored 2 goals just shows what a great player he is and what a great goal scorer he is. You know, he does tend to drift in and out of games a bit for me, a bit like Pepe. But on the other side of that, he's got that end product, hasn't he, that Pepe doesn't. He scores the goals. He's there. He makes the right runs at the right time. He's always there. He's on the end of things. And his finishing yesterday, they were 2 brilliant goals. You know, world class finishing. Both of them were absolutely outstanding. You know, and I don't care if they were the only 2 times he touched the ball in the game. He's won us that game with that quality. So he's got to get at least a 9 out of 10, a high 9. He's just almost 10, just not quite 10 because he didn't maybe have enough influence elsewhere in the game. You know, he worked hard for the team, which was important, and he got the quality. So I'm going to give him 9, a high 9, because his finishing was just unbelievable.
Yeah. And as you mentioned on his 2 goals as well, scored in the 19th and 71st minute, which some Arsenal fans,
71, exactly.
Some Arsenal fans have taken as a good omen going forward to the final now. So, I think again, for me, he has to get a high 9 because we say he's all about taking chances. 2 out of 3 he took, and it's got us into a final. So and it's something that.
Just not letting that first one bother him. That was the thing, because a lot of strikers had missed 1 and then missed 3 and 4. Don't they? Lukaku does it and people like that. And the fact he didn't do that to me was impressive. Straight away, a more difficult chance. Bang, puts it in. What fantastic, unbelievable.
Well, look, we had how many years of Giroud, and there's one game in particular that rings true to me was the Monaco game where literally he had like 10, 11 chances to score in that game at the Emirates and didn't score 1.
I remember that. I do remember that.
So I'm just thankful we've got Lacazette, but we've also got Aubameyang, who will finish. 9 times out of 10 will be clinical. And Winston says in the chat here about Giroud, poor hamstring in the last game of the season and be out for the final, so he's out of the final then. Because then that's their attacking threat. Because Tammy won't do fuck all against our defence, and that's saying something.
Especially in the last game, the game at the Emirates, where Callum Chambers had him on toast, Tammy Abraham, and he got the injury. I was really gutted for Callum because he was just playing himself into form as well.
Yeah, he was.
Going back to the game, for me, Aubameyang gets the 10. You want your strikers to put you through, you know, the defense set the foundation. They set the stage for him to go and do his thing. His work rate, and I know a lot of people been banging on about his work rate, but it was second to none yesterday. And he does what we pay him to do, score goals. Both goals were difficult for different reasons. The cross from Pepe comes a long way, and the amount of concentration you need to have to make really good contact with the outside of your foot for it to just go to the opposite corner, that is Tekers right there. And then with the second goal, because he's ran from literally the halfway line to get onto the end of this ball, it's almost like you got too much time to think about it. But what I liked, he steadied himself, made sure he got his body across the defender, so if there is any recovery tackle, it's going to be a penalty. And the finish to nutmeg one of the best goalkeepers in the league, do you know what I mean? Like, job done, innit? That was the final nail in the coffin. So he gets a high 10 for me.
I can't argue that, to be fair.
Yeah. And Albert, what about yourself?
Well, I've given Luis Man the match, so I'm going to give Aubameyang 9.5. You know what? I'll take the point that people do say that about his work rate, but I would say even more so under Arteta, his work rate for me, I think is second to none sometimes, because when he's not playing as a main striker in the middle. He's playing out on the wing, and I mean, he missed a chance in the first half. He struck it well, but it's just straight at Ederson. But to finish that goal the way he did the first one was just, like Richard said, it's world class. It's an unbelievable finish. And then the second goal is funny because when he was going through, I thought Garcia was going to get him because he got closer and closer and closer. And I thought that when he nutmegged Ederson, I thought, quality. But yeah, Aubameyang's just lethal. Whatever happens in the summer happens. But yeah, 9.5 out of 10, man. The guys are just a goal machine. Different class.
Yeah.
Now we're going to run through the subs now. We've got Joe Willock and Lucas Torreira. So we'll go with Albert first today for the first two.
I see Willock came on for.
He came on for
Pepe. That's it. Yeah, you know, Willock did all right. He wasn't on for that long, but what he did, he gave us legs in midfield. And with Willock, he's a ball carrier, and we don't have many players like that at Arsenal. So yeah, he drew a few fouls, clever. How long was he on for?
20 minutes. He came on just after the second goal, didn't he?
Second minute.
So yeah, it's a solid job. I'd say 6 out of 10.
Okay, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, probably about a 6. I mean, he came on, didn't he, for Pepe to maybe offer a little bit more defensive stability in the final 20 minutes after we got the second goal. He did buy a few fouls, didn't he, by sort of running with the ball, bringing it out of midfield. So, he did what he had to do, didn't he? He just wasn't really on long enough to have a lot of influence on it. But, I'd say a 6 out of 10 would be fine. I think he deserves at least that, really.
Yeah, Lewis, do you agree?
Yeah, I'll go with the lads. I mean, it's always hard as a substitute when you come on so late on in a game to try and make an impact. But I think what Arteta wanted was just some fresh legs down that side, because you know what City are like. When they get going with their passing, you got to have runners. And that's what Willock is. He's a runner. He will just work effortlessly on and off the ball. So a solid 6.
Yeah, I think I'll have to agree with that as well. Next one was on the 78th minute. Lucas Torreira came on for, and I'll double check, Lacazette. So, Lewis, we'll start with you.
I'll probably give him a 5. Didn't really see much of him towards the end. It was almost like what Arteta wanted to do was just secure the win, and a substitution like Torreira, you know what you're gonna get. He's bullish, he loves a tackle, he's gonna put his heart and soul into it, but he wasn't on long enough for me to see much. So 5 out of 10.
Albert?
Yeah, standard 5 run. Like he wasn't on that long. Came on to give us some more defensive stability. Yeah, not much to not really much to say really. Yeah, 6 out of 10. 5 out of 10, sorry, 5.
Richard?
Yeah, I mean he got about 10-15 minutes at the end, didn't he? Help shore up the midfield, which he was put on to do a job. He did the job he was put on to do. He just wasn't on very long, was he, to get much influence on it. I mean, I don't really want to give anyone like less than a 6, just because I thought everybody contributed to the job. I mean, even though he only played for 10 minutes, I'm going to give him a 6 anyway, just because I don't really think anyone deserves less than that, really. That's the only reason.
Yeah, I think it's 6 again. It's a fair score. And the last two we're going to do together because they came on about the same time. For Mustafi and what's his name now?
Kolasinac.
Yeah, Lucas, Rob Holding and Kolasinac came on.
That's it. Yeah.
So doing both together, and then we're going to the Arteta afterwards. Lewis.
It was almost like it was just shoring up the back, really. You got about 6 defenders back there, so they get like what Richard's saying, not on long enough to make you think, he deserves a 7 or an 8. A solid 6. Come on, Arteta gave the team talk, gave the instructions, and that was it, really. They went off, they went.
Yeah, and Richard, do you agree?
Yeah, I can't argue that. I mean, they was only on for the last couple of minutes, weren't they? Just obviously Mustafi got injured, and I think it was Ceballos that went off, wasn't it, for Kolasinac? And I don't even know if either of them touched the ball. I mean, I thought Rob Holding did. I'm not sure if Kolasinac touched the ball. He sort of jumped around a bit like he tends to do. But they came on to do what they were asked to do. Didn't they? Just to see the game out the last 5 minutes, and they did. They didn't really contribute anything much to it. But again, I want to give them a 6 out of 10 just because everyone deserved at least that for taking part, really. So yeah.
Albert.
Yeah, same as the guys, really. He wasn't on that long enough. You're right. I don't think Kolasinac actually touched the ball, from what I can remember. I don't even touch the ball, to be honest. But yeah, standard. Yeah, I'll give him a 6, man.
Yeah, I think I again agree because they weren't on for long enough, and anything less than a 6 is a bit harsh. I think, even with the amount of time they had. Mikel Arteta now. This, Tottenham fans, the media, this was a masterclass. Not what happened the other week. This was a masterclass. Before I give my scores, I'm going to go to Richard first.
Well, I mean, he schooled his old boss, didn't he? Absolutely schooled him there. It was great to see. He outfoxed him. He outfought him. He did everything he had to do. He knew exactly how to play against them. I think Pep knew what was coming, and they just wasn't able to counteract it, was he, at all? He tried at half time maybe to get into City, and they came out second half a bit different. But even so, everything that Arteta did in that game, from the team selection to the tactics that he put in place to the way he got the team to believe in it and carry it out, and what he does on the sideline, I love. He's always coaching. He's always getting everybody to do what they need to do constantly throughout the game, isn't he? He's up and down the touchline. He never sits still. He's coaching all the time. When it's a drinks break, he's out there telling them what they need to do, and it's just brilliant to see. He's a proper coach. All this. Forget about being a manager. He's not a manager. He's a coach. He's a football coach. And look what he's done. He's brilliant with the players. The players absolutely love him. You can see they absolutely adore him. The players do. That's what he's done in such a short time. And yesterday, that must have given him so much satisfaction to get one over on Pep, who he's worked under for all that time, and he's probably learned a lot of Pep as well. But to actually go out there and put that performance in with that team yesterday was just, I mean, he doesn't, as a comment there, 10 plus, he doesn't deserve 10, he deserves more, 100 he deserves. Everything he did yesterday was fantastic. His interview, everything. I just want to take him home with me and just let him live with me because I love him. And yesterday, everything he did yesterday was perfect. Not one thing he did wrong. From probably waking up in the morning to going to bed last night. That was like the perfect day. It's the perfect day. And
you're definitely right.
If he can relive that day again in the final on August the 1st, then I'll be quite happy. I'm sure he will as well. But that was just brilliant. I'm going to give him 55 out of 10.
Albert, what about yourself?
Yeah, I echo what Richard said. But you know what? I think the good thing with Arteta, I know people like from the Project Restart was questioning his substitutions and that he wasn't proactive and it was reactive or whatever they were saying. But last 2 games and he's making subs at the right times, the way he set the team up. I don't know if you saw it. I don't know. I saw the footage of it on Twitter or the Arsenal.com website where he had like the simultaneous coaches going talking to them. It was scary. It was. Yeah, it was mad. It's like watching. So yeah, the student outclassed the teacher. Man, it was. Like Richard said, it's not about being a manager anymore. It's about being a coach. It's about coaching these players, man. Getting them on the training field and drilling the hell out of them. And like Richard said, 100, whatever, 10 out of 10, whatever you want to call it. Brilliant. So we can do it, repeat what on the 1st of August, mate, to be honest.
Touch wood.
Yeah, touch wood, mate.
Lewis, do you agree?
Like I said, with a couple of the players in the ratings, the bar's been set now. That is the standard. That's what I expect week in, week out now. It was faultless. It was literally, if you could have a diagram of how a game should go, minute by minute, it would look just like that. He had everything on point. He had an answer to everything that Pep threw at him. And you know, Pep on the sideline got a little bit older with worry, thinking I made a huge mistake in letting him go right about now. Arteta was absolutely perfect. If we was at school, he'd get an A star. He gets a 10 out of 10. He was brilliant. And it's just nice to see a coach react to when things aren't going right. You know, he doesn't sit down. He's forever barking orders. It's such a contrast between him and Arsene Wenger. You know, Arsene Wenger would really just sit there and just let the players sort of figure it out themselves. And by the time they do, it's too late. With Arteta, he wants to see the change implemented straight away. He's going to have such a bright future in his coaching career. And I really do hope that we keep him for as long as we can, because he's going to do so well.
You know why Wenger couldn't get out though, and he couldn't do that bloody zip on his jacket.
Saying that, to the comment that's down below, apparently he's fluent in about 7 different languages, Arteta. So he's a very intelligent man.
French.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I heard that. So bloody hell, this guy's good.
He's good.
Give him what he wants, man. Give him what he wants. If he wants a contract extension, give him 20 million a season, man. We really need to keep hold of him.
If he wants a Nando's, let him have a Nando's. Give him what he wants.
He's a perfect.
Because obviously I was watching on the beach and had their fan walls, and then the Arsenal one right in the top corner on the right hand side, you had someone had made a banner that give Arteta give Arteta the money. I just held it then until Jake had the it is all about him now. He's shown what he can do with different other players. It's backing him and strengthening the squad, making the squad stronger going forward, because I don't want us to become obviously this board. If we win on August 1st against Chelsea, I don't want this board to go, well, you've done this. We're not going to.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
I don't want them to go, well, actually, we can do one more season, and then we'll give you what you want. Because then that
shouldn't be the end of our ambition to win the FA Cup, should it? That should be
no. I'm saying the board. Itself.
That's what the board need to understand. It shouldn't be the end of it. It's the start of it, the start of something new and better, and moving forward from there. And the only way we're going to do that is to have investment in the team. That's obvious, and that's what they've got to do. But let's hope they do. Because
sort of comment, sorry. About Wenger's coat. But it's true. It's like Daniel mentioned it earlier. It's a good point. I think when the board appointed Arteta, you know what? There probably was an element. We're never going to find out that he was going to be a yes man. But I think the way he's conducted himself and how articulate he is talking about when he's in the press conference and in interviews, I think they're kind of thinking there's a few eyebrows raised, thinking, actually, you know what? We can't take the piss with this guy. This guy knows what he's talking about. So we need to I think they've seen that now. They've seen that. And it's evident after that point of view.
I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen the clip where Pep literally turns to the empty seat behind him and then starts mimicking what that's pre-season last year?
That's where Arteta should be. That's what he's thinking. Why is he not next to me? Because he misses him. You can tell he misses him just by how Man City have played since he went. You know, Arteta had a lot of influence on that team. I don't care what anyone says. You know, Pep's the master. Don't get me wrong. He's won everything for a long time. But Arteta had a lot of influence in what happened at Man City, and you can see that's coming to. He's took that from them into us. We've got their power that they had, and you saw that yesterday. And hopefully, it's going to be the sign of the future now. You know, we've got that missing power from them, and we've got it now. So that's what's happened with that, I think. And you can see Pep looks a bit lost, doesn't he, without him? He does.
It's a good point, because even with when Mourinho was at United and he lost his number 2, was it Rui Ferreira? Is it? Different kettle of fish. Massive input.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see what a great coach Arteta is in his own right. So he would have had an influence at Man City. Pep would have let him do a lot of work with the players, clearly, and he did. We know he did, and you can see that they're missing that now. They are, and everyone will say, well, Pep won loads of stuff before Arteta came along. He did, but not in the Premier League. He didn't. because he's never been in the Premier League, and Arteta gave him the experience of the Premier League, added into, and so he took that from Pep, hasn't he? He took Pep's experiences of, you know, other stuff in Europe, how to win things, how to be successful, and he took that from Pep, and you know, he was giving Pep a lot of the Premier League experience now to actually coach individual players, and I think that's what Arteta's done, and he's brought that to us. It's brilliant to watch.
Yeah, because when he finished his playing career, Arteta, and Guardiola coming up, so he must have seen something.
Yeah, of course he did, and he wanted someone who understood the Premier League as well, and that's what he's got. You know, and we're now getting the benefits of that, aren't we? You know, we're getting the benefits massively, and we're going to continue to get the benefits as long as we continue to give Arteta what he needs to be successful. Because he is ambitious, isn't he? And Pep's not going to be at Man City for much longer. Let's be honest, he won't. He'll another year or two at the most. And once that Man City job becomes available, we need to make sure that Arteta isn't tempted.
Yeah, it's true.
And the only way we're going to be in that position is if we've building something that he wants, giving him what he needs to build the team he wants. And if we're doing that, I think he'll stay, because he clearly loves the club and he wants to be successful at Arsenal. But if he isn't given that, and he doesn't see that he's going to, and he can't see it going anywhere further, then of course he's going to jump at the Man City job, isn't he? Why wouldn't 100%. He?
Yeah.
You know, so it's a message now to the board to say, look, you know, you've got to do what this guy wants as much as you can. I'm not saying buy every single player he wants, but we need to do as much as we can to help him along. You know what I mean? We've got to keep him. We've got to do everything we can to keep him for as long as it takes, because he's the right man. I wasn't convinced at the beginning, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
His first press conference was brilliant. You think, okay, he talks a good game, but he had no experience as a head coach. I was a little bit concerned, but he's done everything right, and you know, we've all got to be happy about it. I don't think anybody now can be unhappy with what we've got. You know, we just need to make sure we keep him and build on what he's done so far. And winning the FA Cup would be a great way to.
Brilliant, yeah, it would be a good step. It would be a great fillet, mate.
Yeah, it's what we need. It's what we need. I mean, I'm confident that we'll beat Chelsea, but hopefully that won't be the downfall, because I've not expected us to win many games, and we keep winning them, and now I expect us to win one. So
the main one.
I'm going to try not to think now. I'm going to keep building Chelsea up in the end.
You know what? I'd even take us having a stinker against Villa and Watford as long as you're going to win the FA Cup.
To be honest, I said
I'm being greedy. I want us to win the next three.
No, I would take losing to Villa and losing to Watford if it guarantees us beating Chelsea.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
I would take that. If we can win all three, brilliant. That'd be what a finish to the season. That would be. But I would take losing the next two to beat Chelsea.
Yeah, 100%.
Final. But having said that, I don't see any reason why we can't win all three. Rotate the squad a bit. Nketiah's back from suspension now. He can get a game. Saka didn't play. You know, switch the team around a bit. But we need to make sure everyone's fit for the final. Don't risk getting silly injuries against Watford. Do you know what I mean? If Watford are fighting to stay up, they're going to kick the lumps out of us, aren't they? On the last game.
Yeah,
Villa, yeah.
I couldn't believe that when I heard that come.
It's come out, but Watford haven't confirmed.
But not having Arteta, I'll tell you that much.
No, but Graham Stack, I think it was the guy in interim before.
Yeah,
Graham Stack from Arsenal as well.
Former Arsenal goalkeeper, yeah. From Millwall as well. But yeah, I mean, crazy decision to get rid of him 2 games from the end.
Yeah.
I like Watford. I've always liked them. I used to have a mate who was a season ticket holder. I used to go and watch Watford quite a bit in the 80s and stuff when John Barnes played and stuff like that. I've always liked Watford, but having done that to him 2 games to go, I hope they get relegated now.
I think that's sealed them.
Yeah,
who's going to come in with 2 games to go and turn things?
No one. They'll just.
You don't.
Troy Deeney's going to manage the team. Watch.
He thinks he does anyway, doesn't he? That dude.
Anyway, we'll wrap things up now, guys. Thanks for coming on. Lewis, where can people find you as well?
Oh, bloody, I didn't realise we was going to do this. My Twitter handle is so bloody long, I always forget it. You can find me on Twitter, Lulu41986. I'm on Twitter. I'm on bloody Instagram as well. Louis Graham. Oh God, you could have prepped me.
I'll find you, mate.
Hold on, Louis Graham 04. There we go, Louis Graham 04. Next time I'll put it up against my name and that. Apologies, guys. It's been a while since I've done one of these.
Definitely had to. I'm sort of, because I'm hosting the FA Cup final itself, and I'm watching on this channel. So I'm already started reaching out to certain people. So Lewis, if you're available,
the plan for me is to find somewhere to watch it actually. So I won't be in, and depending on how the game goes, I'm going to be very drunk or very, 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 very drunk. So it might have
very drunk.
If I'm around, I'll let you know, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Albert, where can people find you as well, apart from Instagram and Twitter? What about your channel?
I still just getting to my 100 subscribers to have my own personalised YouTube name. But yeah, if you check me on my Instagram and Twitter, you'll have my link in the bio. So just click on my channel, check it out, give us a few likes. You like the content, great. Appreciate the feedback. So yeah, that's where you'll find me.
And Richard?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. It's Rich B, as it says in the on the screen. I'm on Instagram as well. It's Rich Butler 68. I've got a lot of pictures and stuff goes on there about Arsenal and a few other bits and bobs when I go on holiday and stuff. Just some general kind of stuff on there. I've got a blog, the Arsenal blog, which I've been doing. It's called Over and Over and Over Again. Doing match reports and stuff like that. There's a lot of old content as well from the 1980s and stuff like that, old players and stuff, which could be quite good if you like all that kind of stuff. I was going to do a match report for the game yesterday, but in the end I just got too excited about it and I couldn't sit still for 5 minutes to write it. So I haven't managed to finish it yet. I got halfway through and the head was all over the place. So I thought, I can't do this now. And it'll probably be too late.
Blame you. Don't blame you.
So I've missed out that one, but anyway, it doesn't matter because we won, so it's good. But yeah, that's it really. So yeah.
And with that, guys, we'll be back on Tuesday. We're playing, aren't we?
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Back for that. Go back for the watch on that. I'll do a preview probably tomorrow, if not Tuesday morning, early afternoon. And until then, I also got the quiz this week as well. Me and Mark are sorting that out, so that'll be back this week. So Kenny Ken, hold on, make the most of your crown. Make the most of your crown. We're taking it off you this week.
I'm coming for you this week, Ken. Don't worry about that, mate. You had a good week You had a good week last time, but I'm coming for this time.
Yeah. And also we've got Danny was on earlier. He said if he's available, he'll come on as well. He did let me know on Thursday if he can do it or not.
Excellent.
But so until then, enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, the rest of your weekend. Until Tuesday, as always, up the Arsenal.
You too,